Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Film is Okie Dokie. My name is CJ, and I'm joined, as always, by...
Tommy. Sorry, I didn't know that. I wasn't.
Wow.
I never
Bruh.
know whether or not you're gonna say my name or if you want me to
Do I do it differently?
each time. I don't know. We would have to go back, but I haven't consciously paid so much attention as to cognitively. Okay, go ahead.
Wow, what the fuck was that word salad?
Exactly.
Are you okay? Are you having a stroke?
No.
Do you smell eggs?
No, I smell toast.
Oh, that's the stroke thing, isn't it?
The what thing?
What is my thing? If you smell toast, that's having a stroke. Mine is if you smell gas.
Yeah, that's just a gas leak, right?
Yeah.
When you smell gas?
Yeah, so you're dying of a gas leak. Anyway, we have a special guest joining us this week.
I don't smell anything.
You just said you smelled toast.
What?
I'm ignoring you. We have a special guest this week. Our special guest is none other than the president of our fan club and the person who chose V for Vendetta, Jade. How are you, Jade?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Are you?
You're our first ever guest. How does that feel?
Official guest. I know Dayman beat me to it, and then
right.
there's been Tuminio.
Right, and then the Wasp.
And then the Wasp, yes. But it feels good.
Every time that someone says Wasp, I think of white Anglo-Saxon person, and I just am like forgetting that it's a bug.
I feel like that might just be a you thing.
Man, you really like white people.
I don't really... Well, wait a minute. White people are fine.
Wow.
I don't...
Wow.
I'm sitting here like, how do I answer this? So, what have y'all been up to? I think y'all said you went to go see Gladiator 2?
Yeah, we went to go see Gladiator 2 this weekend.
Yeah, it was an event. There was big like the big foam fingers, CJ?
Yeah.
They gave those out with big old thumbs at the movie theater.
No, they didn't.
They're
did. Iconic.
I hate that.
They did.
We said that we wish we would have gotten them before the movie because we would have done the whole thumb thing the whole time.
I would be standing up waving that shit in front of the projector the entire time.
I quickly have to talk about my Gladiator movie experience because you all obviously watched Gladiator together.
Uh-huh.
I tried to watch Gladiator as quickly as possible, but as you guys know, it's like a 2-hour and 40-minute movie or something?
It's a long movie.
Yeah. I watched it in probably about 15 to 20 parts throughout the span of like 4 or 5 days.
Oh no.
Leading up to try and watch Gladiator 2.
Most would say that's the ideal viewing experience.
I thought so. I felt like it really added to
you
the
did
viewing
the TikTok.
experience.
You watched it like TikTok.
No, she didn't have Subway Surfers up.
No, and it wasn't vertical.
Oh, all right.
Come on, CJ. We have a little class over here.
All right. I get you.
So, CJ, from what I understand, you have been busy.
Yeah, I went to Palm Beach for a conference.
Where is that?
In Florida.
Okay, what part of Florida?
Palm Beach?
Yeah, what part of Florida? Is this like Panhandle Florida or like Everglades Florida or like...
It's like 15 minutes north of like Fort Lauderdale. It's like on like the coast.
Okay.
The peninsula, there's a lot of coast. It's on like, I don't know. Like find Miami, then go up and to the right.
Okay.
When I was trying to figure out where it was, someone told me that's where Mar-a-Lago is, and I was like, oh, all right. Oh.
And that made you really excited to go there?
No, stop it. You're gonna get me fucking shot.
You say this every time, and I don't understand what you mean.
Because you're like, CJ doesn't like the white people, but he loves Mar-a-Lago. How do you think that works? It's like, stop it.
I never said any of the... You're putting so many words in my mouth.
I'm putting some words in your mouth next to the words that you've already said.
Yeah, and I can do that too. I'm putting
some do it all
planes
the time.
into the buildings. See?
Wow.
Look, CJ just said that.
What?
Huh?
All right, well, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I went to Florida for... How long was I there? I left my house Saturday morning, and I came back I was in bed at my house Wednesday at 1:30 a.m. So I was there for 2 full days, and then I left at like 4 o'clock on Tuesday. And then I got there Saturday night. So it was weird because, first of all, you go to this place. I'm not going to say the name of the hotel that I went to, but it was a resort and a spa type deal. And from the street, it doesn't look like shit. It's like a really tiny driveway that's like a half circle driveway. And then you pull up, and then it's like they knew my name before I got out of the car. Like, they were expecting me. And they were like, oh, hello, Mr. CJ. I'm not saying my last name. But, hello, Mr. CJ. Hello, how are you? Can I get the door for you, Mr. CJ? And then I'm like, thank you. And then they're like, all right, and check-in's off to the right, sir. And have a good day, sir. And whatever. Like, go to the desk. And, like, you know how you go to a hotel and they give you the card keys for your room?
Hmm.
I feel like every fucking hotel in the last 25 years does card keys. Right? They did not. They had bracelets.
Ooh.
So, like, imagine, like, you have to, like put your, like, power bracelet to the door to open it. But,
interesting.
So, for the hotel, it makes sense that they have bracelets. Because if you're in a spa and you're wearing a robe, right? How are you going to have your key card on you?
Easy. You're up the crack.
Okay. Uncomfortable hunk of metal up his ass. Give me the watch, right?
I was going to say, I have gone to a spa before that did have that because you don't have your phone on you, you don't have your wallet on you at all, so all you have is the little bracelet, and that was how they charged you for services. So that is understandable. It's weird for an entire hotel to do that, though.
So the main hotel had that, but because we were in town for a conference, they gave us these bracelets that were basically, I want you to imagine like a lanyard material, like a canvas or something like lanyard material with a clip. And the way that it worked was there was no like buckle. The canvas was fed through this little thing, and once you passed material through it, you could not pull it off. So I tightened mine instantly and couldn't get mine off the whole time I was there.
Did you cut it off when you got home then?
No, they took the card key back, so they cut it off before I left.
Oh.
They cut it off at the front desk, and she joked that it was a terrible design, but someone who was sponsoring the conference that I was at, the way that they paid so that every hotel guest would have their shitty wristband.
That's like when I go out to the bar and I order a round of Mountain Dew and gin for everyone.
Has he ever done that?
No, but there was one guy at the grocery store one time that told me he saw what I was buying for alcohol and told me that I should try Mountain Dew and Rumple Mints, which we still have not tried, but honestly, kind of sounds like a banger.
What is Wumblemans?
Rumple Mints?
I don't know what that is.
It's like a peppermint.
Yeah, it's like a peppermint liqueur.
Oh, it's okay. I was like, what the fuck is that? All right.
So apparently that's the drink, Mountain Dew and Rumple Mints.
Well, you'll have to get back to me on that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have a bunch of stories from my time in Palm Beach, limited as it was.
Okay. Was in this bracelet card key, as you've been calling it? How does this play into it all?
So I'm getting to that, but
okay.
Basically, if you had this on, you couldn't take it off. So everyone knew you were at the conference if you were wearing this thing. So like, I bumped into someone in the hallway. He was a client of my company's. He walks with me to the elevator, and we're in the same tower. So there were 3 towers. I was in the south tower. So we get in the south tower. He gets off in my floor, which there was only 5 floors. He gets in my hallway, and there were 4 hallways. And then he goes, oh, it's like we're neighbors. And then he makes a turn, whatever. He watches me go in my room. He comes back and goes, now I know which room is yours. And I was like, all right. Yes, you do. Guy's a nice guy, but I didn't know him. I never got his name. He recognized me. I didn't recognize him. And the whole time, he was basically in the background of all of these stories. Like, I'm not joking. He was there for the conference. We were on the same floor. He was basically there for every single story that I'm about to tell you. So, the first day we're there, this was a big operation. There was a lot of food. It was not a big convention, but there was a lot of hotel staff constantly in the space. And there was lots of food. So on the 2 days that they were full days, not the first day was like a half day. The 2 days that it was full fucking days, it was like, sorry, let me go back. So Sunday was 12 to 7. Monday was 7 to 7. Tuesday was 7 to 2-ish. So they brought breakfast every day, there was lunch every day, there was dinner every day, there was a cocktail hour, and then in between every meal there was snacks, there was desserts, like a lot of food. The best food, by the way, the soft pretzels. They brought in a fountain of beer cheese and had a ton of soft pretzels. And I don't know if this was a really fancy joint. I just want to say I felt uncomfortable. It was so fancy. And this place was like ridiculous. If you took like they had a whole table of soda, right? Like Coke, Diet Coke, whatever you would want. And if they didn't have it, they'd go get it, right? Like they just had everything. So it was to the point where if you took a Diet Coke off the table, there was somebody there to replace it. And I'm like, well, then why have 50 of them on the table if you're only someone just takes one, they're just replacing it, right? So, but anyway, it was the day, Saturday I got there, it was, to give some context, it was right after the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight. Friday was that fight. Sunday was that. So we go through and it turns out one of the hotel employees bears a striking resemblance to George Foreman. And I'm like, to my boss, I'm like, hey boss, is that George Foreman? And he's like, he looks suspiciously like George Foreman, the boxer. Yes. It was not him. Like I'm not even kidding. I could not imagine another person looking more like George Foreman, but not being George Foreman. And so someone the guy comes up to me and says, hey, there's a guy walking around here that looks just like Wesley Snipes. And I was like, what the fuck is this hotel? This hotel's got everybody. Now, do you guys know what George Foreman looks like?
Yep.
No.
Why don't you just Google real quick what George Foreman looks like?
George.
Or maybe I'll be able to find a good photo.
Foreman.
I'm Googling it. Okay, so you get the first few photos that pop up. That's what he looks like.
Does he look like a young George Foreman or an old George Foreman?
He looks basically like a mix. I even looking at this photo, I'm in awe of how much this man looked like George Foreman. Okay, do you guys know what Wesley Snipes looks like?
Yes.
No.
All right,
Well,
Google
also...
Wesley Snipes. This gives a chance for the audience to also Google it.
Okay.
I'm gonna edit out all of this downtime, so it's gonna be like, do you know Wesley Snipes? No. Okay, now I see him.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fast.
No, I do see him now.
Do Wesley Snipes and George Foreman look anything like each other?
Not one bit.
Not even a little bit.
Not even at all, right?
No.
So George Foreman comes back in, and the guy turns to me and goes, look it. That's Wesley Snipes. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, nah, dude, he looks like George Foreman. And he looks at me and goes, really? I don't see it. I'm like, it's not Wesley Snipes. Not even the same guy. It doesn't look anything like Wesley Snipes. So
now,
anyway.
Did you sneak a picture to show us so that we can make the final judgment call?
I was going to say, it kind of sounds like
picture.
someone's being racist.
No, that guy was 100% racist because he didn't look. That's why I had to bring up the key thing, because otherwise I'd be like my neighbor, and he'd be like, "Well, why are you looking at your neighbor?" So anyway, yeah, no, I don't have a picture of him. I'll see if my boss got one. So anyway, yeah. So the hotel employee did not resemble at all Wesley Snipes. He did look 100% like George Foreman. That guy was super.
And we're supposed to take your word for it.
Wow. Everyone in my booth agreed with me, and yeah. Anyway, so that first night that I got in, after I got to my room, after I talked to the guy and everything, I was like, you know what? I'm just kind of hungry. I'm just gonna get something ordered in my room. The way that it works is like they just if I get charged to the room, my company just pays for it, so it's not a big deal. So we go through the whole deal, and I look at the menu and I call because you have to call on the phone in the room, and I'm like, hey, okay, I'll get a pizza, and they're like, okay, and would you like that charged to your room? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. It's okay, I'll be up there in about 25-30 minutes. I'm all right. So I get comfortable. I've been on a plane all fucking day, and
What flavor pizza did you get?
I got a pepperoni flavored pizza.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it was. I was gonna get the margarita, but I decided to go with pepperoni. I wanted a little bit of a.
Pepperoni's my favorite flavor pizza.
That's good. Yeah, I agree with you. Good flavor. Good flavor.
I'm not a goddamn communist, so I eat my pizza with sausage.
Ew. So after I think I sent you guys the photo, but after like 20 minutes, I get a knock on my door. Now I'm like got my shoes off. I'm just wearing my undershirt and my jeans, right? I go to the door thinking that someone's gonna hand me a pizza box. And there's 3 guys out there. 2 butlers and like a guy wearing a bow tie. Hello, can we come in? And I'm like, sure. So they push in a cart. On the cart, let me look at the picture so I don't get it wrong. Because, I have a big imagination. On the cart, there's wildflowers in a little bowl, or like in a little like flower bowl, salt and pepper. There's a little plate with a spoon with little tiny bowls of cheese and red pepper flakes, and a really nice plate with like a really fancy napkin, and then a pizza box. And I'm like, so there's a guy, he's like, fresh ground pepper. I'm like, no thank you. He's like, another guy takes the spoon, red pepper flake, and I was like, no. One of the butler guys had a cheese grater, fresh Parmesan cheese. I was like, no, I'm okay. And then the guy with the bow tie pulls out from under the cart a vase, and he's like, would you like some fresh spring water? I'm like, yeah, actually, that'd be nice. So they pour me the fresh spring water. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna have to tip these guys. I don't have any cash. They're gonna come back and egg my door or something. I don't know. But turns out, you just tip it on the room. So I just wrote a tip on the room. And I gotta say, it was actually a really good pizza. Well, the next night, it was late. We had like a really late night that day. That I got back to my room at like 11 or something. It was like every day I was there. It was like 5:30 a.m. to 11 every day, like just like really long days. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get another pizza, but they need to chill on the cart, right? So I call and I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to be rude, but can I just get it not on a cart? Can I just get the pizza box? And like, oh, understood, sir. We apologize. I'm like, no, don't be sorry. It's just, I don't need the cart. They're like, okay, cool. You don't need the cart. They bring me the pizza on a silver tray with like a silver lid. But again, underneath it is just a fucking pizza box. It was like, I was like, what the fuck is this place? What? Why? What is it? What are we doing?
Clearly, you've just never had good pizza.
On a sterling silver tray.
Yeah, that's what good pizza's served on.
Jade,
haven't you ever been to Papa John?
Shut up.
You rang.
Have you ever had pizza served on a sterling silver tray?
Probably every other weekend, yeah.
Yeah, just when we get Papa John.
Jiminy Crickets.
I thought there was only one Jiminy Cricket.
It's the ideal way to eat pizza.
Yeah.
I ate it out of the box, and I think that's the ideal way to eat pizza. But...
Well, no, because... No. When you serve your pizza underneath the sterling silver platter cover, then all of the electric ions in the air bounce off the dome and back into your pizza, making your pizza more nutritious and taste better and giving you better balance, CJ.
All right, hold on. Hold the fuck on. My pizza discharges electric
ions, yes.
And that makes my food nutritious.
Mm-hmm. And it makes you have better balance.
Why?
Science.
No.
Yeah.
What?
No.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I mean, the pizza, did it taste better? Was it good pizza?
I'm going to be honest. The second day I had the margarita and it was really good.
I'm telling you, it's those ions.
It's the ions.
I'm pretty sure it was the basil, but we can move on. We can agree to disagree. I don't know what the silver pizza. So I was given a job while I was there on day one. I was told to go downstairs at 8 a.m. and go get our package. So I go to the front desk because it says that it was brought to the front desk. And I said, hey, I had a package dropped off here. It says it was left at the front desk and signed by Gregory. The woman said, there is nobody at this hotel by the name of Gregory, and we do not accept packages at the front desk. I said, okay, where do packages go? She says they go to the business office, which if you go down the corridor to your right, follow it all the way down, you will find the business office on your left. I said, okay, great, thank you. So I do as she says. And there is no such thing as the business office, as the woman I spoke to at the end of that really long, winding hallway alluded to me. So then I went to the event organizer and I said, hey, do you know where packages are dropped off? And she says, no, but I will help you. So then me and the event organizer, one of the event organizers, are walking around the hotel. But, like, in the parts of the hotel you're not supposed to be in. So, like, oh, this is the ballroom. I was in, like, the back alleyways of the ballroom. Like, the really thin hallways that surround it. Then they're like, oh, all of the packages go into shipping and receiving. I was like, great, where's that? They said, oh, it's in the service area. I said, where's the service area? They said, it's at the end of the service elevator. I'm like, where is the service elevator? So the guy says, oh, it's down that hallway. I said, great. So I go to the hallway, go down the hallway, I get in the service elevator, I go to the service area, I go to shipping and receiving. I said, hi, I'm expecting a package. Did you get a package for me? The guy says, this is not shipping and receiving. I said, okay. It's 4 guys in an office. They're looking out to a loading dock through a pane of glass. They have computers and everything, but they're sitting there overlooking the loading dock. I said, oh, I'm sorry. What department is this? And the guy goes, this is lost and found. I said, is my package in lost and found? He goes, there is no lost and found. I said, you said this is lost and found. He goes, right. Everything that we find is no longer lost. We return it to guests, so there's nothing in the lost and found. I said, okay, I guess that means you're efficient. Do you know where packages come from? And they said, yes, they go to shipping and receiving. I said, where is shipping and receiving? He says, it's the office right behind you. I turn around, there's no office. He goes, oh, there's not an actual office. It's just that bench. And on the bench, there is stacked floor to ceiling packages. So I'm like, okay. He goes, I'm really not supposed to let you dig through these packages. I was like, listen, my package is in here somewhere. It was signed for by Gregory. And he goes, nobody by the name of Gregory works here. So I dig through like half the pile. I give up. I put them back as best as I can. And then I go back upstairs and I explain to the company that sets up our booth for us my problem. The guy makes it his personal mission to find my package. He comes back a few hours later with it in hand. He says he went through the same journey that I did, except my package was directly on top of the pile. He also determined that Gregory is the name that everybody in the hotel signs when they accept a package, so that they're not held responsible when a package is signed for and then goes missing. So that's why Gregory signed for it, and that's why everyone told me there was no Gregory.
So they were both in on it. Both people who said, oh, I don't know who Gregory is.
Everyone was in on it.
Okay.
It was a fucking string-up job.
Okay. I
was in the bowels of the building looking for this package. Then I'm like, oh, what is it? I don't even know what it is. They're like, whose name's on it? I don't fucking know whose name's on it. It's for my job. So I open the box. You know what's inside? Guess what's inside?
Stickers.
Pizza.
Jade, oh, I wish it was pizza. Fucking paperweight.
like a literal paperweight?
Like a literal paperweight.
Was it like anything cool looking, or was it just like a block?
It was a block, an acrylic block. Not branded at all. It was just a fucking paperweight.
Well, why'd you order a paperweight?
I didn't order a paperweight!
Why did they need a paperweight delivered to the hotel?
I don't know, actually.
Do you think this might have been like a hazing thing for you? Do you think you're
I
being
sure hope
hazed?
not. I don't know if I'm being hazed, but
I hope it is.
I accidentally got drunk while I was there, and my boss and the VP and the CEO asked me what I really thought of them, and apparently I told them.
What did you say?
I don't remember. I have no idea.
Well, what do you really think of them?
I don't have like anything loaded up.
You have no opinions of them.
I think they're nice. I don't know what I could have possibly said. So they won't tell me. They think it's hilarious.
I guess that's good.
They also told me that I didn't make an ass of myself, and one of them said, I have more respect for you now than I did before. And that makes me more curious, because what could I have possibly said that would make you have more respect for me?
That means you must have said some shit to their face.
I really probably did. But I don't know what.
Can I ask how you accidentally got drunk? Like, what were the logistics behind that?
Yeah, did you like just slip and fall onto a vodka bottle that you absorbed through your skin or what?
Were you
In
drinking
what?
Mountain Dew and Rumplemints?
No.
We're drinking Mountain Dew and gin.
No, I was not drinking Mountain Dew because I do not drink soda
Were
anymore.
you drinking Miller Lite?
I did have a Miller Lite while I was there, yeah. They have so much free booze at this shit. So we were at this bar and it wasn't free, but my boss ordered me a drink and he got me a double shot of Basil Hayden, which
What
is
is
my
that?
new favorite whiskey. It's that type of whiskey. And really just my new favorite. Blew my old favorite out of the water. I was like, okay, this is good. And then I had another one, but we were waiting for our reservation to be ready. So we were supposed to leave at 7:30. We're in the restaurant where our reservation is, so I just downed it and then thought we were going to go sit at our table, and that didn't happen. So then I got another one, and then like 15 minutes later, they were like, okay, cool, our reservation's ready. So then I downed that one, go to the table, they got me a third one, and then I downed that one, and then after like so long, I realized that I had done 3 doubles in about 30 minutes, and I was intoxicated. Also, because I'm not supposed to drink on my medication, which makes me drunk faster. And that's how it happened. So
Wait, did Twilight CJ talk to your bosses?
Oh my
I
god.
actually think that's probably what happened. Yeah.
Wow.
I did not explain Twilight CJ to them, but I did explain the
probably
alcohol. I explained the alcohol prescription drug problem, to which my VP asked for proof that I took the pill that night. So,
CJ,
you
have
know,
you seen the trailer for that new movie, Wolfman?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Well, there's the one specific part in this trailer where this guy is changing into this wolf creature and he writes down on a pad the word changing. So he's like half conscious of who he is and half conscious that he's a wolf man. That's how I
Uh-huh.
picture Twilight CJ. It's like the real CJ's in there somewhere, and like Twilight CJ is talking, but real CJ is like writing on a pad of paper, like changing.
I'm like drowning.
It's like, have you seen Get Out?
No.
It's like when Twilight CJ comes out, you go to the sunken place.
I feel like you should know that Get Out was way too scary for me.
Get Out is
I
not
could see
scary
that.
at all.
The sunken place is pretty scary.
It's that's far from a horror movie. Far,
No,
you could
I don't
watch
think-
Get Out, CJ.
I didn't say
Mm,
it was a horror movie. I don't like scary. That's scary.
I don't think it's a scary movie.
I think maybe if CJ knows everything that's coming, CJ might be able to handle.
I
Get
think
Out.
it's intense.
You're
I don't think it's-
you're genreizing the word scary movie. I don't like anything scary.
I don't think it's a scary movie though.
Yeah, but you're turning it into a genre. I didn't say it was a scary movie. I said I don't like scary things.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a scary thing.
Well, you're wrong.
That's
I feel
what
like
I've
I
been
need
saying.
a CJ master list of things that are off limits so that we can really fine tune the parameters of what is a scary movie.
Oh yeah, because Get Out has a big thing in it that I don't fuck with.
What's that?
Yeah, it's like the whole like taking over somebody else's like body thing. I
Mhm.
don't like that.
So you're not like, is hypnosis like a really big no-no for you?
I'm not a big into hypnosis, but that's not scary. But like surgery, like anything medical procedure. I don't like that. I don't know. Not into it.
CJ, I bet I know something you are into though.
Go ahead.
Italian food.
So I went to this Italian place. It was like weird because it was like we were sitting outside, and it's Florida, right? It was like really, it was a little warm, but it was pretty nice. They had outdoor seating, and so we sat. But the way that it was set up was it had this really deep curve to it. So we were basically eating Italian food in the parking lot. Like, imagine like your traditional strip mall with an overhang, or like a plaza, right? Like a plaza shopping center. So imagine like a plaza shopping center, and we're just kind of, it was so far out, the tables were so far out from the glass that
like the tables are outside.
Yeah, they were outside, and we were just so far that like it was like we were eating outside with the cars, to the point where like we were close enough to a car that we could have like thrown something at it. So it was kind of weird how it was set up. But I had chicken parm. It was nice. And then I had wine for the first time.
Red wine?
I had never had wine before. Yeah, I had ordered a bottle of red wine.
Do you know what kind?
A Cab.
Did you like it?
No, I didn't. They poured me. They bought a bottle of wine. I told them I never had wine. They poured me a glass and said, "You're drinking a glass of wine right now." I had a glass. I took a sip and I said, "What the fuck?" And I was like, it's dry. It tastes like bitter, like awful grape, and whatever. And they were like, "Oh well," and they were like, "Oh, it's nice." I'm like, no, I can't imagine drinking that with food.
But you like drink whiskey straight and stuff, right?
Yeah.
See, that's interesting. Wine to me is so much more palatable than whiskey straight.
I mean, if you, I don't like a lot of like front of mouth burn with whiskey. I like things that have a lot of like throat or like back of the mouth feel burn, and that's like where I like my whiskeys to be. So like I totally get what you're saying. Like I can't drink Jack. Jack just tastes like shit all the time, everywhere in your mouth. But like,
hold on, wait. Do you know what shit everywhere in your mouth tastes like?
Like it's like like Jack Daniels, yeah.
Oh shit.
See, I feel like wine is one of those drinks. Like, you know, when you have beer for the first time and you're like, "Oh, this shit tastes like piss." I feel like wine becomes more palatable the more that you have it.
So again, I just want to ask, we know what piss tastes like?
You don't?
No?
Really?
Not unless I just assume it tastes how it smells, but I don't...
I thought your nickname in high school was noted piss drinker, tomato anus.
No. It was
unnoted
notable...
piss drinker.
No, it was notable piss enthusiast. It's very different, guys.
What's a piss enthusiast?
Oh, I'm a big fan of piss.
Okay.
I love the way when you swish it around in your mouth, how it hits all the areas of,
So are we not talking about the same thing right now?
Huh?
Huh?
No, I don't know what piss tastes like.
But you just said you would swish it around in your mouth a little bit.
No, I didn't. CJ was saying that.
Roll the tape.
All right. So you would not, do you think you're going to try white wine or any other types of red?
No, I don't think I'm going to seek it out, but I think that I can choke it down if the situation calls for it, I suppose.
Do you like champagne?
I've never had it.
Okay.
Did you never like do a communion or anything like that?
I never drank the wine.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think I ever did either, just because of germ.
My mom just didn't let me because I was a kid, and it's wine.
Man, you see, I don't know. Side note, you know that Wisconsin has a law where you can drink if you're underage if your parent is with you?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, you could be like 8 years old having a beer at a bar as long as your parent's with you.
Doesn't like Wisconsin have like 8 of the top 10 like most alcoholics by like per capita in the country?
That would not surprise me at all.
I feel like that might just be Packers fans though.
They also have like I think it's Wisconsin. Like if you counted every gun owner there, it's like the 4th largest army in the world or some shit like that. Wisconsin is just Texas of the North.
See, I always thought it was just North Chicago.
No. You're just thinking about Milwaukee.
True.
We don't want to claim all that rural shit.
All right. Well, who brought the movie to the table, and who here has seen it?
I did. I brought this movie to the table. We were watching V for Vendetta today. And I will say, this is technically speaking like the 3rd movie in this iteration of Vengeance movies, because I know you guys watched the Batman and Gladiator. So I'm real excited to watch this movie. I have seen it multiple times. What are your guys' experience with this movie? What do you know about it?
CJ, why don't you go first?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I've never seen it before. I don't know anything about it. I think that I know the Guy Fawkes mask, and that's it. I know nothing else about this movie.
So you don't know any of the actors or actresses or anything that's in it?
I don't know who's in it. I don't know what the movie's about. I don't know when it came out. I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear. I've also not seen this. I'm pretty familiar with it though. I'm excited to hear what you like, CJ, throughout the movie. Be like, oh, that's from this movie. Oh, that's from this movie. Because I do feel like there's some pretty culturally relevant things. Guy Fawkes mask aside. So that's I'm excited to watch this.
Yeah. So I guess how much do you want to know about it before going in, or do you want to go in like completely blind?
You know, I think well, I'll tell you what, I don't know what's funnier. Is it funnier if I go in and I don't know anything about it?
I'll let you answer that, Tommy.
I think it's interesting both ways, you know. I think that having the pure, raw, unfiltered, unbiased reaction is fun, but at the same time, you know, it's nice to have a little bit of context and discussion beforehand about, like, you know, maybe you hear what it's about and then you could be like, ooh, I'm not sure if I will like this. Ooh, this sounds like something up my alley. You know what? I feel like the past handful of movies we've gone into when one of us hasn't seen it, we've gone in completely blind. So let's change it up a little bit this time. How about we give CJ, Jade, why don't you give us a bit of info about this so CJ's going in not 100% blind this time.
Okay. So it is considered like a political action film. It is dystopian in nature, so it doesn't really have a set time that it takes place. But I guess I don't know how much I want to go into it without giving any of it away. But more so, it's just governmental corruption, and how people react to that and what they do from there. The story is mostly just 2 people. The movie was actually originally a graphic novel, I believe, by who wrote the graphic novel again? Tommy?
Alan Moore.
Alan Moore. And it is DC.
Okay.
And the screenplay was actually written by the Wachowskis. So Wachowskis notably known for The Matrix, which I know, Tommy, you have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
But they wrote the screenplay for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Alan Moore also worked on Batman the Killing Joke.
Yes. And Watchmen, which is one of my all-time favorites.
There you go.
But yeah, this movie just had like a really big reaction, I feel like, when it first came out. I think it came out in 2005, late 2005. The Guy Fawkes mask became huge. People would wear them. It was a very popular Halloween costume. And this movie definitely had its moment in the early and mid 2000s.
Well, what was it that made you want to pick this movie in particular compared to maybe some of the other movies you were considering?
Well, I wanted to pick a movie that neither of you had seen before, one. Two, I wanted to pick a movie that neither of you really knew my feelings on, which I know is kind of hard with Tommy specifically because he knows almost every movie that I've seen. But I feel like this movie in particular, and this kind of goes into what my prediction is going to be for the both of you,
Okay.
I feel like it's either going to be one way or the other. So I'm just curious to see where you guys are going to land and whether or not this movie has aged well and your guys' feelings towards that, because obviously it's about governmental corruption and a lot has changed in people's feelings towards the government in the last 20 years. So I'm just curious to see whether or not this movie holds up.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, would you like to make an official prediction here before we get into watching it?
Sure, I would love to.
Do you want us to hear the prediction?
No.
Okay.
All right. I'm taking my headphones off.
I'm taking my headphones off.
Okay. Okay, guys. I honestly think that both of them are not going to like the movie. Quick little spoiler. I also do not like this movie. And I think that they both think that I do, which is going to be interesting. But I don't think that either of them are going to like this movie, and I'm really intrigued to see how they fall.
I think we're okay to come back now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back.
Nice.
All right.
Well,
Whoa.
we don't need to wait anymore.
No. CJ, why don't you bring us into the commentary track?
Sure thing. Thank you for listening to the first part of the Film is Okie Dokie. If you would like to listen to our companion audio podcast, which will be going over as a live commentary of this movie, you can pause here in just a second. Otherwise, just keep listening, and you'll be taken to us having all watched the movie. And if you've already seen the movie, you don't have to listen to the podcast. But if you'd like to listen to the companion audio podcast, you can stop this one right...
Wait, it's linked in the description. Okay, go.
You can stop this podcast right now.
Sensors and systems of surveillance coercing your conformity.
Also, JVC clearly sponsored this movie because every television has been a JVC.
I wonder how that worked out for them.
But it really is a dystopian future. The primary television brand is JVC. That's why we have mini discs.
You need only look.
V, wait. Please, you don't have to do this. You could let it go.
Do you guys think you can rock that hat?
No.
It would need to be custom made to fit me.
That's like an Undertaker, Pharrell, Cam Newton, Madonna hat.
You know what's funny is you named like the 4 people who would perfectly wear that hat. Like you nailed that. You absolutely nailed that.
Hello, everyone, and we're back.
We're back.
We're back. We didn't go anywhere. We really need to get better at this. We have not left. You have not left. We have not left. Welcome back.
Whoa, wait, hold on. Wait 1 second. Sorry to interrupt, CJ. I am seeing that one of us in the Google Doc for the show notes is a Nyin Cat.
Yes.
What are the odds on that?
I don't remember. Hang
Man.
on. I don't have the Google Doc drop table memorized. It
Let's
is
see.
not me.
It's not me. Wow.
Oh,
Jade.
so it's Jade.
Wow.
Wait, who am I?
You're
You're
the
in a Google Doc. You're the Nyin Cat. It's an Easter egg, apparently. But I don't see the drop odds for it. It's like you're a shiny
Weird.
Pokemon for this episode.
Wow. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I'll call you my shiny Pokemon anytime.
I'm not finding the drop table for it, but it is it is very uncommon.
Wow.
Can one of you screenshot it? Because I can't see it.
Sure.
Yes, because you are the Nyan Cat, you cannot see it.
Yay.
Yeah, but he will send you the thing. So yeah, welcome back. We just watched a week, and by just watched, I mean a week ago. We watched V for Vendetta, which we're going to talk
We
about
did.
here in a little bit. But before we do that, we have some outstanding business that we need to cover.
Yes.
Including the rest of my stories from my time in Palm Beach. But actually, we have some old business that we have to attend
Yes.
to. For those of you that are not in the know, you may or may not remember the product, the Vaporator, the non-dishwasher safe product that Tommy had purchased for science and personal recreational use.
Right.
And I don't know if we established this on the podcast or if this was something that you would communicate to me that you couldn't find the charger.
Yes, I did talk about this on the podcast.
Okay, good.
I used the vaporator, I think is what it was called, but I lost the charger before I could even charge it once.
Okay. So, and that was just going to be the end of the product, and, but there's an update on that.
Yes, the charger has been found, baby.
Woo!
Now, Jade and I were just together this past weekend, so we were together when the charger was found. So Jade knows where the charger was, but CJ, you get 3 guesses. Where do you think the charger was?
Okay. I am going to start with a pretty, I think, standard guess. Okay.
Okay.
I believe it could have been plugged into a wall socket somewhere.
It was not plugged into a wall socket somewhere.
Okay.
You have 2 guesses.
2 guesses. You see, it's so interesting because I feel like it's going to be in a really weird place, but then it's like how weird and how out there. Because if I go too far out there, then I seem crass and uncouth. Whereas
Now,
when you reveal
no
that it
such
was in a
thing.
really weird place and you go too far, you're the punchline of the joke, right? So I need to posture myself specifically.
I'll give you a hint in saying I like where your head's at.
Okay. I'm going to put myself out there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it was in the bathroom.
Good guess, but again, not correct.
It was not in the bathroom. Okay.
Not in the bathroom. Jade, do you have a hint to give CJ or something? Do you have any good clues you can think of?
Think mobile gaming.
Was it in the case for your Steam Deck?
No. Unfortunately, CJ, that was your 3rd guess. Would you like to know where the charger was?
Yes.
The charger was in my car.
Okay. All right, hold on. It was in your car?
It was in my car.
Now, can we just get a little more clarification? Is this like a charging cord or is this a full-on like AC adapter?
It's a USB-A to unique end that like is a magnetic attachment to the vibrator.
Okay, so you found it in your car.
Yeah, I found it in my car.
Is your car particularly messy?
No,
Not at all.
it's not at all.
Like the cleanest
what
car
hap-
that I've ever been in.
Thank you.
He has the. What about my car?
Your car is pretty clean too.
I would say CJ's car is cleaner than mine, to be honest.
Yes, that is
Let's
true. But you
go!
also have 2 dogs that you chauffeur around.
Yes.
I have a
So
cat.
My back windows
Yeah, but there's
are really
like a
dirty.
dog. Yeah, there's like a dog bed and chains and stuff like that. A traffic
Chains?
cone.
Chains?
Like the piggy mask?
You make it sound like these dogs are like the fucking goddamn gorilla dog from
The-
Sandlot.
The anal.
What do you call
the
them?
anal
Leashes?
training kit? What?
You call them leashes?
Leash? Yeah. Leashes. Humane leashes in my back seat for my dogs.
Nah,
Like
chains
they're
is better.
seatbelts
Yeah.
No. So
and a traffic cone.
You have
and
a traffic
cones.
cone?
I have traffic
Yeah.
cones in the back of my car, yeah.
Why?
Well, you never know if your car breaks down. You gotta put something out there to say, hey, there's a car broken down, you know?
Yeah, of course. Okay.
I mean, usually hazards will do. But...
Yeah, I don't have any of thems.
I'm surprised you don't fucking
You-
have. You don't have hazard lights?
Wait, what?
No, I have hazard lights, but like the hazard triangle, is that what you're talking about?
No, she was talking about
No.
hazard lights.
Like putting your hazards on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you know, people will ignore, you know, people they don't see lights. They see
But they don't.
cones.
Nobody's in the history of forever has never ignored a fucking cone.
Exactly. My point proven, especially a 6-inch tall cone.
Okay, hold on.
Cut to several cones that I see run over constantly in construction
Yeah,
sites.
exactly. Construction. People don't respect construction workers.
Preaching to the choir.
Wow, Jade, official construction worker hater.
I gotta be honest.
what?
I gotta be honest. I thought Jade was saying she was a construction worker, and I think of the 3 of us, she's most likely to be in construction.
100%.
I would
yeah.
definitely be one of those people that like hold the stop and slow signs. That would be my
Oh,
job.
you'd be so good at that.
In my
be
mind, you were
so
working
good.
like the mnemonic press. I feel like you gave yourself a demotion. Like you're you demoted yourself a little bit. I was giving you like senior, like you're not in the hole digging the hole. You're one of the senior people watching someone dig the hole.
Okay, so I'm a project manager.
Well, I don't know about titles, but you know how like you ever see like people working on potholes?
Yeah.
And there's like 6 guys standing around watching the guy fix the pothole, and then there's the guy fixing the pothole. You watch the guy fix the pothole.
What, you don't think that I can get my hands dirty because I'm a woman?
Wow.
You're trying to get me fucking killed.
Typical CJ.
CJ
bashing
hates
women.
Wow.
My God.
So the charger. I
Why
got
was
into
it in
my
your
car. I got into my car and sat down, and my phone fell out of my pocket. This is an issue I have with some of my pants. My phone falls out of my pocket. Stuff falls out of my pocket. And my phone fell between my seat and my console, and I reach down, and I'm digging for my phone. And I touch a cord, and I pull it out, and it's the charging cord. It somehow ended up in my car between my seat and my console, like in that crack. So what I'm guessing happened was when I was unboxing it or whatever, after I had unboxed it and I was putting stuff away, I slipped the cord into my pocket, and then forgetting it was in there, drove later that day, and it fell out of my pocket onto the side of my seat down there by the console. So no wonder I didn't find it. I looked every fucking place in my house to find it, but I didn't think to look in my car because I didn't think, actually, you know what? I did. No, I didn't look in my car before. No, yeah. So I didn't. It's the one place I didn't check.
Sounds like you have an issue with your pants.
I feel like he just inadvertently gave me a Christmas idea.
Pants?
Pants
that don't
pants
make
with
your
wait,
phones fall
are you
out?
gonna get me pants with lids for my pockets?
Yep.
Whoa!
You're gonna be like Gene Simmons with how many zippers that are gonna be on your fucking pants.
Oh, I don't
Wait,
like.
are they
I don't,
zippered or are they like buckled?
Oh, well, you know.
I don't
Porque no
like
las dos.
excessive zippers or buckles. Just
Wow.
putting that out there now.
Wait, so how are you picturing your ideal pants?
You know, like those flagons that have the lid that you like lift with
What
your
is a
thumb?
flagon?
What the fuck is a flagon?
Google flagon.
Why don't you just
can you
tell
just
us
tell
since
me?
we're
It's
here?
it's like a big mug, like, and it has a little lid on it, and you lift the lid with your thumb.
How do you
know?
spell flagon?
Flagon.
Yeah, we would have gotten that one.
I was expecting like little flagon lids for my
How many
my pockets.
are you guys playing a joke on me?
What?
Looks like a spittoon.
I feel like we've
No.
had a lot of different permeations of the word flag in this conversation. And
What?
well, because you said you wanted to be the flag person.
Not
No,
flag. I
what? She
just-
said sign. She said
Yeah.
slow stop sign.
No,
person.
no. Check the tape.
I'm sure
Check the
you
tape.
that I said the stop sign and the slow sign. Who has flags at a construction site?
All right. Well, the world will never know who said what, and it's not important.
Okay. Wait. Okay. So even if I did say flag, that's 2.
Well, 2 is enough for a pattern.
That's not even enough for a party.
Well, my parties are very intimate.
Ooh.
I think that's just a date.
Well, that's very presumptuous.
I mean, as a 2-person get
We're
together
like a little
party, or is it
we're a
date?
little dyad, a little cadre, you know?
Isn't the saying two's a crowd, three's a party?
No, 3's a crowd.
It takes 3 to tango.
Oh, I don't know. I
Wait a
just
minute.
found an Andy Warhol quote. One's company, two's a crowd, three's a party.
Who's Andy Warhol?
The painter?
Are you talking about Andy Samberg?
No, that's the guy who plays the harp.
Oh, wait, I thought that was Mark Wahlberg.
No. Mark Wahlberg is the dude who beats up minorities.
Stop it. Time out. Where are we going? I don't know.
What?
I was waiting to jump
Where
in.
are we going? Clap, clap, clap.
Where are we
To the
going?
market. Where are we going?
To Walgreens for vitamins.
I actually do need to go to Walgreens for vitamins.
All right, let's get back on track. Where were we?
I said that
Flags.
I had an idea for Christmas for
Oh,
you.
pants.
Oh, right, the flagon pants.
No flagging pants. No,
The flag-
stop it.
the
And then I
flags.
said there was a conspiracy
Flags
about you guys.
on pants?
Now you said flags. No flags.
Wait,
Okay.
like, are you going to get him the pants from Napoleon Dynamite that are just the American flag parachute pants?
No, I'm gonna get him the pants from Napoleon Dynamite that have the tater tots in them.
Nice.
Yep. Then nothing will fall out because you'll have mashed taters in there.
Are
Tina, you
are the
fat
mashed
lard, come get
taters-
some dinner.
The mashed
So
taters are sticky?
Can they still be considered tater tots, or at that point are they mashed potatoes?
Okay, let's assume that we're starting with a finished product of a tater tot. If someone kicks your pocket when your pocket is full of tater tots, are they now still tater tots, but
That's my
crushed or
question.
mashed, or are they, or do they revert back to being potatoes in some other form?
I think they're considered mashed potatoes. No.
I think I think they would be closest to hash browns.
Hash browns.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm with you. Because, like, doesn't, like, mashed potatoes have, like, milk and stuff in it?
I mean, by definition, mashed potatoes are just potatoes that are beat.
You beat your
in one way or
potatoes?
You don't?
What did they do to you?
Don't worry,
The
CJ.
potatoes?
She beats everything. She beats me awake.
This is actually the intervention. I'd rather be beaten asleep personally, but
Wait, can we actually talk about, though, mashed potatoes?
okay.
And no, not mashed potatoes. Sorry.
Oh,
Let's talk
damn.
about hash browns. Why are there so many different types of hash browns? Like, why don't we have different names for different types of hash
Not
browns?
only why are there so many types, why are some types just so blatantly better than the others?
Okay, what is your favorite type of hash brown?
Oh, the favorite type of hash brown is the McDonald's hash brown.
I was gonna fucking
Okay.
say it. The
Yeah.
puck.
The puck that you can buy at Trader Joe's as well.
Yeah. No,
So
those
if you
are
get
pretty
tater
good.
tots and you mash them and you form them into the shape of like a
A hash brown.
The bar of soap.
yeah, would that be considered then a hash brown?
I think you would need to recook it to refirm up, recrisp it.
Mm.
But I think that you would have a uncooked hash brown right there.
I'm gonna say that.
Wait, uncooked? But the tater tots are already cooked.
That's true.
Yeah, but I feel
No,
like
you're wrong.
I feel like when you kick the tater tots to mush them up, you're kind of undoing, they're then just a mass of potatoes that you can then
They're
form into
still
a hash.
cooked.
I think you would need to recook them again just to like solidify.
So
I
the
don't know.
act of cooking them takes away their the act of cooking them takes away their cookedness.
Yes.
No. I think
yes.
I
Feet
think
drained cookingness.
no. I think that unless you prepare them again, they are now just destroyed versions of whatever they were before. Like, if you disassemble a pizza, you don't go like, oh, this melted pile of cheese is now usable mozzarella. Like, it is just a deconstructed pizza.
But if you kick a pizza and then fold it up a little bit, can it be considered a calzone?
Okay, you're
I
losing me.
I think you would need to put it back in the oven to then recook it.
What's your answer to recook a pizza?
I don't.
Because think about it this way. You cook a pizza, you fold it, you got a folded pizza. You take a pizza, you fold it, you put it back in the oven. Well, the folding was just part of the process now of you continuing to cook it, and now you got a cooked calzone.
You guys want to hear a secret?
Yeah.
I've never had a calzone.
You've
Okay,
also
first-
never had a nut.
Which I don't believe for 1 second.
Okay, no, this is not me making a joke right now. I have never intentionally consumed nuts.
So you've never
Outside-
had trail mix?
No, I don't like trail mix.
You've never had a pistachio.
But you've never had trail mix.
I have had trail mix.
But that has nuts in it.
I don't think I got the nut kind.
What was in your trail mix?
I don't listen. I can't genuinely. I cannot have another conversation about trail mix. This is
Okay.
long-seated trauma. But
Okay.
just because you two are my best friends, we're gonna talk this out. Trail mix is M&Ms, raisins, granola, and pretzels. No nuts.
Interesting. I've never had that type of trail mix
Same
before. I
here.
would probably just consider that granola. But if you consider that trail mix, I'm with you.
Can I say what like the standard trail mix in my mind is?
Really quick, I just want to also say raisins are not the best part of trail mix, and that is final.
Do you think M&Ms are?
I'm leaning that way.
Okay, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you were saying, Tommy?
So, in my eyes, standard trail mix: peanuts, M&Ms, raisins, almonds.
You have 2 nuts.
Yes.
I would maybe throw a cashew in there too.
Mm.
Sometimes
You're feeling
cashews,
funky.
yeah. But like traditional trail mix, like if I go to the store and I get regular trail mix, I'm expecting like peanuts, M&Ms, almonds, raisins, maybe cashews.
If you handed me a bowl of nuts, like, and you were like, all right, do something with this, I would not know how to eat them.
You just take one out and pop it in your mouth.
No, like peanut, you don't eat the shell, right?
Right.
I never knew that
Okay.
until very recently.
Have you ever had a sunflower seed?
No.
Wow.
Interesting.
So you've never had a cashew, an almond, a peanut, a sunflower seed,
No. I've never had it.
pistachio.
Nope.
So have you had like dessert items that have nuts in them that you know of?
I think my only asterisk here is maybe peanut butter, but only very recently did I start eating peanut butter anything, and it's mainly Reese's Cups.
Mm. So you've never had like a carrot cake or anything that has...
I don't like carrot cake.
Okay.
But I didn't know that carrot cake had nuts in it.
I mean, not always, but some of them do.
But like we would have brownies in like school as a kid, and I would not eat the ones that had nuts in it.
When you were a kid, did you avoid the ones with nuts in it because you just thought you didn't like nuts?
There was somebody who was allergic to nuts, and it was a very serious airborne allergy, and they were a student in my class, basically from the time that I was in like first grade until I graduated from high school. So there just wasn't a lot of nut opportunity.
Mm.
I
would say, hey kid, this is a you problem.
Mm.
And then I would throw a payday at him.
Wow. You would literally commit murder.
I'd say, hey, catch. Hey, kid, catch. And I'd toss him a payday. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, kid, catch. All right. So I've never had a calzone. But I also just don't like regatta, and until very recently, I didn't know that you could just get a calzone without regatta in it.
Wait, Tommy, you said you haven't had a calzone either, have you?
I think I've had like maybe I have had 1 or 2, but not many.
Okay.
I've had it
I'm
at like
a
lunch in middle
calzone
school or high
virgin.
school.
Never.
And you're a nut virgin. You've never been nutted in.
Knock it off. All right. So speaking of calzone, I want to pivot now a little bit into some stories from Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
I went to this place. I don't remember if it was at an airport or if when I was traveling. I don't remember where it was, but I went to this pizza place, and so this actually was not during Palm Beach. I came back. It was on my birthday, which was recently. I went to this pizza place, and we actually walked by it. It was uptown when you guys came to visit. We walked by it, and I wanted to go check it out for a minute. So I was like, you know what? I'm uptown for an appointment. I have like 10 minutes. I'll go in and get a slice. So I go in. I have like 15 minutes, but I got a text saying that the elevator was out, so I was gonna have to walk up 4 flights of stairs. So I was like, all right, like I got a little bit of time. So we go in there, and I order, and somebody else gets like an avant-garde pizza, and I was like, what is that? I was like so curious on what that even means. Like, I know avant-garde. Like, if someone said avant-garde in conversation, I'd be able to understand what that meant. But I can't actually explain what that is, right, to somebody else. Like, I don't have the words to explain what it is, but I know it when I see it. And I know what it means in, like, context, sort of. So I was like, what is an avant-garde pizza? So they bring me my slice. They brought it to me on a pizza, I'm going to say shaped, and you're going to laugh at me, but a pizza-shaped plate. And it looked like kind of like a pizza. No, I'm saying the plate had characteristics of a pizza. It had like a raised crust around the edges, and it was designed like a pizza.
Okay.
And so they brought me like 2 slices, and I'm sitting there, and I'm whatever, eating it. putting my red pepper flakes and my oregano on it. And then they bring out this avant-garde pizza. And it's on the same plate. And I'm like, what is avant-garde pizza? So I like get up, like I'm going to go get a water from the cooler. And I go over to this lady who's eating it. So how do you define a pizza? What, just basic, what is a pizza?
Jade, do you want to go first?
I would just say dough,
Okay.
a sauce of some kind, usually tomato, doesn't have to be tomato. I would say a cheese or cheese-like substance most of the time.
Uh-huh.
And usually, you're gonna factor in like some Italian spices in there. So like a basil or oregano or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tommy, do you have a...
I'd say largely the same. You have a crust on bottom. I think that of the core characteristics Jade mentioned, I think there's the most wiggle room on the sauce. You have some alternatives like margarita pizza, which don't have a sauce. They have cooked tomatoes on top of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a bit of wiggle room, but by and large, yeah, I stand by what Jade said. I think there's also, Italian spices I think can be optional because you can do like barbecue chicken pizza, and that might not.
That's true.
You can do like a ranch as a sauce pizza. Not that gimmicky shit really counts anyway, but
But we can be in agreement that there are 3 components of a pizza: the crust, the sauce, and the cheese.
That is the part of Lunchables pizza, so I would say yes.
I would say you could remove the sauce or the cheese, not both at the same time. But if you wanted a pizza with no cheese, or you wanted a pizza with no or little sauce, that would still count as a pizza. Okay?
Arguable, but yeah.
But
it would depend on the substitutions, if any.
Sure. So I go over, and I did something I never do, which is I just started talking to this person because I'm like so interested in what they have. So I look over, and it doesn't look anything like a fucking pizza. So I asked her, I said, "Excuse me, I heard you say you ordered the avant-garde pizza." She said, "Yeah, that's right." I said, What is it?" She goes, "Okay." I said, I'm honestly not trying to be rude. I've never ever heard of this in my life. And I'm so curious what this is. She says, "Oh, okay." So she has the plate and she's pointing stuff out to me. So she's like, "Okay, this is corn chips with melted cheese, salsa, and guac." And then she moves her hand over and she's like, "Over here is sliced pepperoni, sliced salami, and sliced sausage. And then over here is what else does she have? She had something else. I don't remember what it was. Some chicken maybe, but it was like ground chicken. And it was all on the plate. Just like I had been served. But there wasn't one item. But it was all touching, right? It was all like kind of like a big pile. And I was like, "Oh, so it's like nachos." And she's like, "Oh, it's not nachos. This is a pizza." And I said, "It doesn't have a crust." She goes, "It's avant-garde pizza." And I was like,
Did she say it like that? Like
yeah.
You were the biggest dumbass on the planet?
So she's like, "That's why it's avant-garde." I'm like, then the guy who's running cash register says, "Yeah. So it doesn't have a crust. It doesn't have traditional sauce. You can get whatever you want. What makes it a pizza is that it's on the pizza shape plate."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
He's like,
my God.
he goes, "There is a layer of corn chips underneath." I was like, You've
That's
made
just
nachos. You've made really weird nachos."
Was it like Fritos corn chips, or they were like actual like tortilla chips?
Maybe like tortilla chips, but I don't think they made them there.
Okay.
Like, I'm saying like someone got the bag, from the store. Maybe they heated them up, but no, there's no grandma in the back making the chips.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, so I went back and ate my slice. They weren't that good. And then I left and I was like, avant-garde pizza. Man. I don't know that I would even consider one, I would never consider making an item to sell like that. But two, it would never occur to me to call that pizza. If anything, it is so readily, obviously, clearly nachos.
It sounds just like nachos.
Right?
And it's
Like,
like,
I think
it was like
that's just
Fritos,
nachos.
right?
Yeah, like if you told me like, oh, there was taco seasoning and ground beef, I would believe you. But they had ground chicken instead. I don't know.
I wonder what the seasoning on the ground chicken was like, if there was any.
So, is there any universe where you would call this a pizza outside of his definition of if it's on the plate, it's a pizza?
Fuck no.
That sounds like someone that has aspired to open up a a Michelin star restaurant at some point, but doesn't have any of the culinary training or expertise for it.
This feels like someone that watched The Bear and then is like, I'm going to sell this to like rich jerks from Brooklyn. Which he did. Because she was very happy to have her avant-garde pizza. Also, give me a paper plate and let me walk the fuck out of here. What is this metal plate shit that they gave me? I was like, you don't understand this transaction. I don't want to live. I don't want to be here. I want to leave now. Give me my slice so I can go.
What if he just handed you a bag of Fritos? What if he just gave you walking tacos? Here you go. Here's your piece of slice to go.
All right, another confession. This one you guys are not going to respond positively to, but we're sharing, right? This is a safe space.
Of course.
I've never had a taco.
Man, fuck
Oh
you,
my
CJ.
God.
Fuck you.
Wait, you've never had a taco?
No, I've had taco meat and I've had a taco shell, but I've never had a taco.
So you've never had nuts. You've never had a taco. Have you ever had a burrito?
No. My dad used to make something he called them Wookie Tookies, which were like tacos, but in like the soft shells, and he did something else to them. And so he would like try to give me some of the beef that had like the taco seasoning on it, and I just didn't like it. So I never aspired to have the taco because I'm like, well, I know I don't like the shell, and I know I don't like the seasoned beef.
So, genuine question. Is this why you say that you don't like Hispanic food? Is because of this instance?
No. So I don't like tacos. I don't like I have never had a taco. I've never had a burrito. But like I had like a chimichanga type deal. Didn't like that. That had like too many different bad textures going on for
Going
me.
from zero to chimichanga is an interesting line.
I was
at
chimichanga. You got to be level 5 at least before you can order that. CJ.
My job had the fucking Christmas party at these Mexican restaurants, and they were like, "You can have a burrito, a taco, or the chimichanga." And I'm like, "Well, I know I don't like taco beef, and I don't like burritos. So yeah, I'll do the chimichanga." Didn't like it.
I'm surprised that you could even order the chimichanga when you don't know what chimichanga means in English.
I don't know what it means in English. I don't know what the word for chimichanga is in Spanish, so I couldn't order it. That's a throwback.
I'm just shaking my head right now.
Here's the thing, right? But I've had the beef, so I think that I won't like it, right? That's my place that I'm operating from. That's why I've never had one.
So I will say, like, depending on where you go, like some Hispanic restaurants will have like 3 different types of just beef alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I would dissuade you from counting out Hispanic food entirely because of your bad experience with a Tex-Mex chimichanga.
Yes. So I will say, I know that, listen, I get that I'm a picky eater, right? But it's not because I haven't tried some of the stuff. I haven't, but it's like, oh yeah, CJ's never had nuts. CJ's never had a calzone. CJ's never had a taco. It's like, yeah, but I've had the components of some of those. Like, I think I'd like a calzone. I just know I hate ricotta. Like, ricotta and green beans will make me projectile vomit.
Oh,
do calzones have ricotta in them?
But I was going to make you my ricotta green bean casserole.
Stop it. Okay.
And it's topped with mayo.
Stop it. My family makes a green bean casserole every year, and that's fine. If you guys want to have fucking green beans, have your green beans.
I don't like green beans. They are one of my least favorite vegetables.
I'm like actually retching thinking about this, but every year they make it in my oven. And my apartment will fucking stink. It's one of the fucking few things I can smell is green beans, and it will stink like green beans. And I'm like, ugh! My sister force-fed me a green bean when I was a kid, and she was like 15, and I was like 7 or how old was I? 8? Yeah, projectile, like a helicopter around her bedroom.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so really
Why were you spinning?
That's a really good question. They were so mad at me, they made me clean it up because they were like, "You're being so dramatic." I'm like, I just can't stand it. Regatta too.
I literally threw up.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the avant-garde pizza and CJ's green bean trauma. All right. Speaking of food, when I was at Palm Beach, I had a burger at this like outdoor bar by the ocean, and it was like 10 or 15 feet from the ocean. It was really cool. And it was like the double brisket smash burger. And I was like, okay. So I just ordered it how it came without the sauce because I just don't like things to be really like drippy or oozy. So it had like caramelized onions and pickles and stuff. And they were like, house-made pickles, homemade pickles. And I was like, okay, whatever. Everywhere says that they have homemade pickles, right? They all say that they have great pickles. I have never had better pickles in my life.
Really?
And I was
approximately how big were the pickles?
They were like, so not chip size, but imagine like a regular size pickle that you sliced on its side.
Pickle slices?
Yeah.
Pickle slices. Okay, so you couldn't choke on them.
Yeah, you couldn't choke on them. But you got a little bit of pickle in every bite.
Mm-hmm.
And they tasted phenomenal. Okay? I was so into these pickles. I went back there before I left and got the same thing, just so I could have the pickles again. And then I'm like, because I also grew up not liking pickles. Convinced I hated pickles. Now pickles are okay. I'm good with pickles. Sometimes I still order no pickle on my sandwich just because I want them to make a fresh sandwich, you know? Sometimes people like pre-make sandwiches. I'm like, no, if I order no pickle, then I don't get the pre-made shit, you know? So, I got home, I'm like, oh, I'm so into pickles now. I had like a roast beef sandwich that had pickles on it, and I took a bite and I was like, these fucking pickles are terrible. And I like spit it out, and I was like, ugh, what the fuck? So I had this like pickle high. I had pickle euphoria, and now every other pickle is terrible. I have bought jars of pickles and I've tried different pickles. I've gone to different restaurants. I've gone fast food places. I've gone mom and pop places. I've gone to places that say they make their own pickles. I am trying. There's a pickle fest. I'm going to go next year because I cannot hit anything remotely close to these pickles. And I don't know what they were. I don't know anything about them. I don't know what they did. What are they doing down there with the pickles? What are they doing?
You should call them and say, hey, what are you doing to your pickles?
I asked the bartender about the pickles, and she looked at me like I was fucking crazy.
I am, what I'm hearing is CJ is too good for peasant pickles.
What?
Wow.
That should take away from that.
Wow.
That's my takeaway from that. You're too good for peasant pickles.
I only can take the bourgeois pickles.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you for saying it out of your mouth. Tommy, can you clip that?
Oh my god. Put that on the soundboard.
Clipped, posting it all over the internet. Woman hater continues pickle rant.
I knock it off with the women hater stuff. Come on. I'm serious, guys. Jesus. So yeah, fucking there you go. I found great pickles. I cannot reach those heights. And in the same way, the Ribwich came back. And the Ribwich, by the way, is trash. 99% of the time, it's so disappointing. You think it's going to be great, and it never is. It's just a fucking letdown. It's a fucking letdown on a bun. And then today, I had a Ribwich, not Ribwich, a McRib. Sorry. The McRib from McDonald's came back. And I had a McRib, and They have done nothing different. They have changed nothing.
I think
Nothing
that's
is
part
different.
of the point.
And for some reason, I had the best McRib of my life. It was everything I've ever wanted a McRib to be and more. And then it was gone. And then I started cursing in my fucking car because I will never have another McRib in the rest of my life that is as good as that McRib. Because the McRib is terrible. But now I'm fucking stuck for 10 years or 50, the rest of my life.
Whoa, wait, you only plan to live for 10 more years?
I gotta be real. That's a real thing. Yeah. I said that every second
CJ.
after 40 is a borrowed time.
Oh.
And I just crossed 31, so I got 9 more years.
Oh.
In the next decade, I'm never gonna have another McRib as good as this. This was it. This was my McRib.
See, what I'm hearing, CJ, is I think you need to start getting really into cooking.
Yeah.
Because you think I'll make a better McRib.
Yeah.
And better pickles.
And better
Yeah.
pickles.
Yeah.
I agree with you in principle, but in practice, I'm just too busy to cook.
No, you're
Think
not.
about all of the avant-garde pizzas you can make.
Oh my god. Woman hater makes avant-garde pizza, sells to Brooklynites, news at 11.
Your words,
Flip
not
it.
mine.
Flip it.
Your words. Those are all your words.
They came out of your mouth, though. You
They
called
did.
yourself a woman hater. That
I am
I heard
not-
it myself.
What more proof do we need than CJ calling himself a woman hater?
Wow.
I heard it.
I heard it. We all heard it.
You too.
All 4 of us.
You're gonna get me killed before my decade is up.
CJ, you made a real wrong call having both of us on this podcast together at the same time against you. Because this is a 2-on-1 battle.
Wait, against?
There is
against
no
CJ?
person I could bring on that will defend me. I don't know anyone. You get anybody.
Maybe the butcher that you're now friends with.
Come on now.
Flossie's mom.
Flossie's mom. I think
mom.
Flossie's dead.
I think I ate Flossie.
Shit.
I'm looking at the gazebo where my best friends are. I think the only one that would defend me is Shuli, and Shuli will crumble under the pressure of anything. So she's like a wet paper towel.
Wow, I'm telling Shuli you called her a
Flip
wet
it.
paper
I
towel.
said
Woman
I have
hater.
Send it to
I have
Shuli.
said so much worse to Shuli in the last week. Yeah, tell her I called her a wet paper. It's really fun being mean to Shuli because Shuli doesn't deserve it.
Wow.
Wait, how is that fun then?
Oh, because it's like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. Shuli, you bitch. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. It's funny because she's absolutely not. She's the sweetest person in the world. But then it's like, Shuli, you bitch. Ha 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 ha. That's me.
Wow.
She's in on it.
Mm.
Wow. If you say.
I'll
so.
wait till Shuli is on the show to hear it from her lips.
I don't think Shuli will ever be on the show. Not because I don't think Shuli would be
Because
really
you
funny,
keep
because
calling
Shuli.
her a bitch.
Well, that's not why. But all right, a big finish. So I have this problem. Every time I go to the airport, they grab my fucking balls. Every time I go through the airport, I fucking fail the test where you have to go through the pod thing, where you put your arms up and stand on the yellow feet. I fail that every fucking time. So I have now failed it like 8 times in a row.
I know, it's really hard to stand on the feet.
No, and every single time, they're like, sir, do you have anything in your pockets? And I'm like, no. And then they turn their screen around, and it's a giant red bullseye on my crotch. So then they tell me the story, pat you down with the back of the hand, and they go through it. Well, when I was going to Palm Beach, I had a guy who had never done it before, and he was being trained. So the guy who's training him is standing next to him, telling him how to do it, and then telling him he's doing it wrong, and then having to, like, redo it. And I'm like, I didn't agree to be fucking the training dummy for fucking, you know, Heffel over here. What I call him, Heffel over here to fucking pat down my balls. Like, get your hand out of my ass. And it's like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then the guy comes over and is showing him. He's like, now you try. I'm like, I was like, excuse me, can we? Are we done? No, he hasn't done it right yet. So then
Sounds
I'm like,
that should be something they do to each other on their break time.
Yeah, not something they practice on live people. So
I'd pay to watch that.
No, stop it. So then I get through, and the guy says, listen, you obviously don't have anything in your balls. And I said, thank you. And he said, it's because you're a bigger guy and you have baggy jeans. So when you come back, yoink your jeans up under your armpits like Urkel, and then it won't go off. So I'm like, okay.
I see
fine.
where this is going.
So I go on my way back. I go to the Palm Beach airport, and I'm with my boss because we were leaving the same airport at the same time, and we were on the same flight back to Atlanta. So he's in TSA pre-check. He's laughing at me. He's got his jacket on. He's got his shoes on. Whatever. I get in the regular line. I go through the thing. They stop. And then my boss is watching me 10 feet away, getting my pat down. And I said, the guy's like, step over here, sir. Do you know why I'm pulling you out of line? And this guy was like fucking G.I. Joe. Like all business, no no bedside manner. Like, stop talking when I'm talking to you. Like the guy who joined TSA because he couldn't join the police. Right? That asshole. So this guy's like, telling me what he's gonna do, and I said, it happens to me every fucking time. And he's like, would you like to go into a private room? Like, threatening me. I'm like, no, can we just do it? So my boss is laughing at like 10 feet away from me as I'm getting my groin pat down. And then I get pulled to the side, and another employee does it. And I'm like, my pants are as high as they'll go. Not quite up to my armpits, but they're pretty high. And they kept, like, slapping my junk. Like, with the back of their hand. And I'm like, guys. Like, I'm like, excuse me. And they're like, well, we're feeling something here. I said, that's my balls. And they're like, oh. You're free to go. As soon as I said that, the guy said, oh, you're free to go. That's not an embellishment. That's not a CJ twist on the story. That's not me putting words in his mouth. As soon as I told him that he was backhanding my genitals, he was like, oh, you're free to go. Yes, I'm sorry. I have genitals. I'm very sorry. So then I'm a mess. I have no belt. My pants are pulled all the way up to my chin. My backpack's all fucked up because I take my laptop out of it. My shoes, I have to untie them to put them on. I'm like carrying all my stuff. My boss is still laughing at me. Watching me in total disarray. And he's like, why don't you get TSA pre-check? And I said, the nearest pre-check office is an hour away, an hour and a half away, and they won't process my application because the height on my birth certificate doesn't match my license. So I'm stuck going through fucking security to get
CJ,
my dick swatted around.
Why? You just have to go back to being like 30 inches tall or whatever.
How am I gonna do that?
Or like 12 inches, however big babies are.
How was I born?
Well, I would assume. Well, I don't know. You should probably ask your mom whether she got a C-section.
Don't bring my mom into this.
Oh.
Yes, I was a C-section. All right, we're done talking about my mom, and we're done talking about my balls. But now I'm just so pissed off because that didn't work.
I will say I have been traveling before, and I was rushing to go through customs, and I had to go through another security thing, and my back lit up like all red, and they had to pat me down because I was sweating. So it could just be a heat thing too.
I am hot at room temperature.
So that might be it.
I don't know that
Just
there's
bring a
actually
little portable
a reason.
fan.
I bring 3 portable fans with me on every business trip.
Just wear the America parachute pants that you're getting Tommy for Christmas. Get yourself a pair.
The flag-on pants.
Yeah, they'll be really breathable, or they will see you as ultra patriotic, and
That's
they won't
true.
pat you down because they're like, "Oh, there's no way that this guy is a threat to national security."
There you go. So last story, I get from Palm Beach to Atlanta, and we were delayed, and I have a 40-minute layover, which I got 40 minutes from the time that we land and get to our gate to get to my next flight, right? It's not a ton of time, but Atlanta's a big airport. It's not no time. Like, I didn't have to sprint, but Atlanta's a big airport. So
Very big.
I get off the plane first, and I use the app, and the app says that I'm coming into Concourse B. Okay? I should mention that this is going to be important later. I was sitting next to a gentleman on the plane. He was sitting in the bulkhead row next to me. And so he's sitting in the front of the plane. I was sitting on the aisle. He was sitting on the window. On the right side of the plane. So we both get off together. Whatever. We go our separate ways. I get my backpack, and I'm kind of hustling. And I have to get to Concourse T. Now, the way that the Atlanta airport is set up, it goes T, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay? So T is the domestic terminal. It's the first one. Okay? Then there's a gap, and there's A, there's a gap, there's B, so on and so forth. So I land at B. I have to get to the main part where you can cross to A. And Atlanta has trains, right? So you get on the train, and the train will take you to your next concourse. So you don't have to walk. So I get on the train, and it's packed. And I jump on. The doors start to close, and they stop. They start to close, and they stop. Then they stop doing that. Then there's a message saying that the train is having an issue. So I do that for about 5-10 minutes, and then a guy comes out and says, "We are closing down the trains for the evening. So there's no more trains." So I get out, and I start walking, because I've wasted 10 minutes doing this. So now I have 30 minutes. I see a sign that says it's going to be 10 minutes to get from B to A. So there was a moving sidewalk. It made it a little faster, but everybody could no longer take the train. So now these hallways are super congested. And people are just like lollygagging, like, I'm just going to stand on the moving escalator, or I'm going to walk 2 miles an hour in the middle of the hallway. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I try, I get there, and then it's a 10-minute walk from A to T. So I do that. And I get to the concourse. I get to my concourse, and I'm like, great. I'm going to try and get something to eat. I've got 20 minutes. I got to try and go to the bathroom and try and get something to eat. So I go to the I see as soon as I get up the stairs, I see a bathroom. I go, and it's a women's room. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I go down to the next one, and I walk in, and I just put my head down, and then I look up, and there's all women in there. And I'm like, oh, this is the women's room. So I walk back out, and both signs for these two bathrooms next to each other are both women's rooms. So I asked someone, I'm like, hey, where's the men's room? And the guy says, oh, it's all the way down there by gate 2. I was at gate 8. So I walk all the way down to gate 2, get in there, go to the bathroom. I come back. There's one food place open. It's kind of late at night. There's one food place open. I go in. There's a sign that says it's a 40-minute wait for Subway. I'm like, I don't have 40 minutes. So I didn't get anything to eat. I order a pizza to be delivered to my house. I'm in Atlanta. I'm like, I'll eat when I get home. So we order a pizza to my house. I sit down. I'm exhausted. My legs fucking hurt. I'm like, I finally sit down. And then I hear over the intercom, good evening, everyone. This is flight 2594 with service from Atlanta to Albany. We are going to begin our boarding process now. We're going to start with those with a Group 1 boarding pass. And I was like, oh, that's me. So I get up. Again, I'm fucking dead tired. I'm fucking sweating. My legs hurt. I get in the plane. I put my bag up. I plop down in my seat. I'm in the bulkhead row. And I'm on the aisle again, because I like the aisle. But I'm on the left side of the plane. And I sit down and I look over, and it's the same guy that I was sitting next to on the first flight. So him and I were on the same flight from Palm Beach to Atlanta, and then we were on the same flight from Atlanta to Albany, sitting next to each other both times, and we didn't know each other.
Did you guys talk on the second flight?
No.
Like,
we didn't talk on the first one. All I said to him on the second was, didn't we sit next to each other in the last flight? He says, yeah, it's crazy. That's never happened to me before. And then we never spoke another word to each other.
Wow.
I feel like that's the start of a good rom-com.
I love that guy. I wish everybody on a plane was like that guy.
You really liked when he took off his shoes and rubbed them on your leg?
No, that didn't happen. But yeah, that's my crazy travel story.
Well, you were telling me about that through text. You were texting me saying,
no,
this guy took off his shoes and started rubbing his bare feet all
Do
over my calf.
Do I make up random things about you and tell people that? Is that something that I do to you?
No,
Is that something I've ever done to anyone?
not that I'm aware of.
Why do you do it to me?
I'm not.
You are!
I've never lied ever.
God damn it. Alright. Fucking, what is the movie we watched? Gladiator?
Yeah, we're here to talk
We're here
Gladiator.
Gladiator
movie?
2, actually.
I didn't see
Ooh,
that movie.
yes. Wow, CJ, you didn't watch Gladiator 2
you
like
didn't
you
do
were
your
supposed
homework?
to?
I was supposed to watch Gladiator 2?
Yeah,
When?
the
When we
past
did our
week.
commentary track.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. What is it? What are we watching? No, we already
You got
watched
this.
something.
You got this, CJ. What movie did we watch?
I'm just gonna look up the fucking title of this show notes. V for Vendetta.
I'm going to leave
Oh.
that entire amount of time in just so people can hear how long it took for you to
Why?
not remember, but have to look it up.
Yeah, V for Vendetta with Natalie Porthorse. Portman?
Porpoise?
I
Yep,
didn't-
Natalie Porthorse.
Portman. Anakin's girlfriend. And then what was his name?
got
The
this.
guy who's not John Rhys Davies.
You got this.
Stop. The guy fucking Red Skull. Isn't he?
Hugo Weaving.
Oh, that's not what I was gonna say. Okay, good.
I know that I'm doing the recap in a bit for it, but can we switch gears and can we have CJ do the recap? Purely from memory.
I kind of would like this.
Okay. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder.
No, please do.
Man.
I can't wait for this.
All
Well,
right.
CJ, are you willing to give the recap?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But
Cool.
before we get into that, why don't we just talk about just general how we like the movie first?
Okay, sure.
Who should go first here? Does the guest
think-
go first? Or
Yes, the
does
guest should go first.
last?
No. I think you guys should go first.
All right.
Okay.
All right, you
CJ,
go
what-
first.
Me?
Is there
Well,
someone else?
I mean, don't mind if I do. It's interesting. I've thought a lot about this movie over the past week. And I think while we were watching the movie, I was really into it. Really into it. As I thought about the movie, I came to really like certain aspects, but also like kind of dislike certain aspects of it.
Mhm.
Overall, I think it's pretty solid. I think that this movie really succeeds with its world building. And I think that alone and how real certain things feel in this movie really carry it. And I think it's just like generally a really interesting story. It's no secret I'm into politics, and while I think the politics here are pretty, they're not terribly nuanced in any way. I did find it really interesting, and generally overall, I enjoyed it. With some detractors that I think the downsides to this movie are like they really play into, and I mean, who's to say this isn't just the impact this movie has had? But I do think that this movie has some flaws where you can really read into things wrongly and take the wrong lesson away from this. And I think the movie, it's not the movie's responsibility to make its message, clear and easily understandable for everyone. You can't fault the movie for people misunderstanding it. But I do think that parts of this movie are just like actively like saying the wrong message. At least what the rest of the movie is going along with. But generally, I liked it. I would say pretty entertaining throughout the whole thing. It really got into it a lot faster than I was expecting to. So it held my attention all the way through, and yeah, I liked it. CJ, what did you think?
I knew nothing about this movie at all. I didn't even know what to expect. we got a little bit of a synopsis right before we started in the pre-show. And I don't know if people believe me or not when I say that I don't remember or that I don't know what we're gonna see. I genuinely don't. I don't have the best memory when it comes to like specific details of like things that I can't like put my hands on, like people's names that I haven't met, right? Like I don't know what it is. So I'll say that the movie definitely, to your point, got really like right into it, like no waste of a time. It basically, it did exactly what I thought it was gonna do in the end at the beginning, and I was like, oh, okay. So now, what do you do for 2 hours? It didn't kind of let anything go. It's political dystopian, so and so, and I thought that I wasn't gonna like it. I thought that it was just gonna kind of be whatever. And maybe that's just like some prejudging on my part, but just being honest, what I thought might happen. And I think overall I kind of like it. It's not going to be on any list for me, but overall I think it's good. I thought it was interesting, and it kept my interest the whole time, which I think a premise like this, if it was written a different way, could have very much not held my interest. Like, I'll talk about this later, but there is something to be said about whether or not you show the character in your movie or you don't, right? The hook for this movie is about the guy in the Guy Fawkes mask and what does V for Vendetta actually mean, right? What the title is, whatever, but what does it mean, right? So, like, okay, they could not show him the whole time and have him be like the shark in Jaws, and just be like an ominous thing or something you meet at the end. But no, he's a character, but he's a character you never really see. You never really get to know. You get to know visages of him, right? You get to know little brief things about him, and I think that was very interesting. So, I like the way that it was handled, and yeah. So far, positive feelings. We're gonna find out how much I really liked it when I have to remember it.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Is it my turn?
Yes,
It is your
Jade.
turn.
What did you think about this movie?
I don't like this movie.
I love this.
What? You picked a movie you didn't like?
Yep. And
Whoa.
I wanted to pick a movie that neither of you knew my feelings towards. Purely for this reason. I do not like this movie.
Wow.
And we'll go more into that in a little bit. But I think in an age where we have these wonderful vigilante masterpieces like the Batman, which you guys just watched, this entire story just kind of falls flat for me.
Interesting. Well, I can't wait to hear why.
Yeah.
I'm also very curious about that. I feel like I've been Speckledorfed a little bit here.
What is Speckledorf?
I've been bamboozled.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Are we ready for the recap?
Yes.
I think so. I'm ready.
All right. So, movie starts and there's this dude on the TV, and he's like, I'm the television man. And he's like kind of being like Rush Limbaugh, TV asshole. What's that other guy? The guy that writes the books.
Bill Maher?
No, not that guy.
Bill O'Reilly?
Yeah. We'll do it
Bill
live.
Murray?
Fuck it. We'll do it live. That guy. So, he's on TV, and then it's like there's somebody watching the TV and like some weird creepy dungeon thing, and there's somebody watching the TV, and she's like this like nice young lady, and it's like, oh, hi, nice young lady. What's this guy putting on a mask for? Oh, well, we don't know anything about that yet. So then the nice young lady goes out, and it turns out, no, she's a prostitute. And there's a dude who, there's this dude who's like, all right, well, you going then? Because there's a curfew, because the place is all politically fucked up. It's like an authoritarian government. Don't worry about that yet. So then it's like there's an American war, but they don't show any of that. So the UK is like, oh, we gotta be isolationists in it, right, like that. And so then the secret police are like, oh, what's this, Dad? A little bird, isn't it? And then this guy is like, my name is V. I've come to go away. And then the police, who are like the fingermen, who are like the secret police, they die, more or less. He kills them. Sometimes maybe he doesn't kill them. He kills some of them. And then he's like, oh, I saved you. Come with me to the roof. And then they go to the roof, and then it's like, I'm gonna blow up the Old Bailey, isn't it? And then he blows up the Old Bailey, and he plays the loud music, and then the next day is November 5th, which is Guy Fawkes Day. And then Evie is her name, Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman the next day is like, oh my god, that was so weird. Wait, I'm a person of interest now. The secret government's gonna secret government me. No! So I have to get to my job. I gotta get to my job. So she goes to her job. She works for the state-run TV. And guess who goes to the state-run TV? The Guy Fawkes guy. And he's like, I'm gonna go on TV now. And there's bombs and smoke. And these are bombs. And everyone's wearing Guy Fawkes masks. So then everyone's wearing a Guy Fawkes mask. The police gun down random Guy Fawkes people, but they're actually the people that work at the TV station. She realizes that the secret police and the regular police are coming to get her ass. So she tries to book it, but the police are like, oh, I said burn it, isn't it? And then they follow her. They go to knock her ass out. V's on TV. V's like, I'm giving an inspiring speech about how words and ideas cannot be stopped. And next year, you're going to see something big. I'm going to blow up Parliament next year. And then, he's about to leave when Evie is, like, knocked out. And he's like, oh, well, I better save her. So he saves her, and then he takes her to his underground lair. Or above ground lair. We're not really sure where it is, but it feels very subterranean. Kind of like, did you guys see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze?
No, but I have seen other TMNT.
When they move into the train, under the old underground, yeah, like that. So yeah, so Evie is taken back to his lair. Okay? Now, there's a few other people that we met in this time. There's the cop that feels like something's wrong, but doesn't know that something's wrong. There's also, Stephen Fry, is that his name? The guy that rose naked in the rowboat in Mycroft.
Stephen Fry is in this movie, yes.
Yeah, that guy. We meet him. He's kind of an asshole, but then he's not, and we'll get to that. So then she's like, I want to leave, and he's like, no, I had to take you to my underground lair so that you wouldn't die, because now you're a person of interest. And then they're like, do you want to help me? And she's like, yes, I want to help you. So he lets her go out. And she dresses up like a baby, a little girl, and like very weird clothes and like shoes and pigtails and makeup. And she goes to this pedophile bishop. And then Guy Fawkes is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And she's like, please save me. I'm scared. This guy's gonna come through. And then V comes in. He's like, you're already dead, mate. So then other people start to die. Like this doctor lady, who actually he was pretty nice to. And then like a bunch of people just start dying. Then you find out that there was a guy, they had like a facility. In the facility, they were testing viruses on political dissidents, right? And he was in the cell number 5, but it was with Roman numerals, so he's V. The place gets destroyed, but he lives, which is why he wears a mask, because apparently he's Toastville. And then, yeah, you also learn that the big terrorist attack at the Three Rivers water treatment facility that kills a bunch of people, that was a government setup. by the secret police to block off the rest of the country and establish their control. So, Peter, you know that guy has to die too. The head of the secret police, he's fucking dead later. But don't worry about that now. Okay. So then she's like, okay, I can't go back to V because I tried to betray him. And I can't go back home because the police are looking for me. So she goes to her talk show host boss, Gordon, who has a bunch of illegal materials like the Torah, and he turns out he's gay. So if they find out that he's gay, he's going to be... Also, Evie's parents died. That's going to be relevant in a minute. Evie's parents died years ago for being political dissidents. The moral story is, if you want to live in this UK, don't be a political dissident. So then, Evie and V... No, sorry. So then V is like, my plan is coming together. Evie stays there for a while. Gordon goes on his show and makes fun of the Chancellor guy who appears on a TV the whole time. He makes fun of him and like does like a whole like take the piss comedy act. And then the actual guy's like, nah, he's fucking dead. So he sends the secret police to go get him. They find the Torah. They go, they abduct him and they kill him. And then when Evie is trying to escape, she is abducted. And she is taken to prison, where all of the consequences of her actions show up. Her head is shaved. She's thrown into a cell. She's tortured. They interrogate the shit out of her, and she finds this like little letter about someone that was in the cell before her, and Valerie, I think her name was. And so Valerie was a lesbian, and it's her story. And apparently, when she was in the cell, she like was being tortured and everything, and she knew she was gonna die. So she wrote this like last testament, and that gave Evie the strength to go on. And then they're like, "All right, you won't give us any information. We're gonna take you out behind that shed and kill you." And she's like, "Then take me out behind the shed and kill me." And then V's like, "Congratulations, it was me." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, it was me. I shaved your head. I tortured you. I beat you. I left Valerie's note in there for you to find." And then she's really freaking out because he basically tortured her for months and months. And then he's like, "No, I gave you your freedom because now you're living without fear." And so she's like, "I want to fucking leave." And she's like, "Okay, just promise me you'll come visit me before the 5th. And she's like, "Fine." So then she's like, oh, maybe all these people that he's killing them because they wronged him. V has a plan where he's going to get Creedy, the secret police guy, to get the Chancellor to come out in the open, and V's going to kill him, and then V's going to surrender. Except that doesn't happen. V kills the Chancellor, and then he's like, ba-ba-ba, 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 baby. I'm going to fucking kill everyone in this room. Rewind, forgot something. He has a train with a bunch of explosives that Evie finds. Not that important right now. So then he kills everyone, and he tells them that he's going to kill them because he gets shot like 100 times and lives. And he lives long enough to kill them all. Evie is the one who gets the decision on whether or not she's going to send the train off. So he comes back and he's like, I did it. This was never about me. It was about the people that are next. This is not my blah, blah, blah. So then the police come. V's dead. The actual police come. And she's like, okay, well, bye. Sends the train off, gets out. And she's like, what have you done? He's like, what have you done? And she's like, whatever. I did it. Evie and V like have this like dying moment where he dives in her arms and he admits that he loves her, which I think is really weird because he really tortured the shit out of her. And like, that's not something I've ever done to someone I love. And then the guy is like, who was V? And Evie goes, he was all of us. And then they blow the shit up out of Parliament. And there's 1,000 people with Guy Fawkes masks standing out in the streets. Like tens of thousands of them overwhelming the police. And then, yeah, Revolution. That's how the movie ends.
Awesome. I think you did pretty good. Jade, what did you think?
I thought it was great.
I get it all?
You did
not
kind
quite
of
everything, but I think it did the trick.
Yeah, I think the one thing that was missing is just the mention of the main inspector or whatever who's investigating V the whole time, but like ultimately he's not really important to the plot.
Police guy, I said him.
Yeah, but he was a big part. Like he was like kind of like the second main storyline though. But it does kind of amount to him just kind of being there as Natalie Portman Evie sends the train off. So I don't think he's very necessary for like the intimate details of the recap.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, with that all being said, why don't we get a little bit more in depth? CJ, since you just recapped it, why don't you tell us like your specific thoughts? Spoilers and all, warts and all. What did you think?
Look, I don't know. I think that it's presented in an interesting way. I think that some of this is just like a little uncomfortable for me, which makes it more interesting because I think it's challenging me in some way. Jade said that it's not like on par with the other revenge movies that we've watched, and it is not. I want to be clear. Out of the 3 revenge movies that we've watched, Gladiator and Batman, and this one being the 3, this is the worst one for me. And it's not close. I do think that it's interesting that they introduce the guy instantly. They introduce V instantly. He's in the whole movie. He is not boring at all. And I think that that's probably the one thing that I appreciate the most is that he's never actually boring. He is fucked up, though. And I don't like that part of him. I don't like that they kind of radicalize Natalie Portman. That kind of feels weird and gross and sad. And then everyone else that's kind of just along for the ride in the government's like, yeah, fuck y'all. And then the action's kind of weird. It feels very early 2000s. The superhero presentation of it, the comic presentation of it is a little kind of that ilk of the Fantastic Four, that the Hulk movie of 2003. It just kind of feels very like samey to that. Like it's not, obviously superhero movies kind of broke the mold with Iron Man and everything that followed kind of borrows from that a little bit. But, you know, just the way that comic book movies and superhero movies had been done up until that point, it feels very much in line with that. I will say I never saw the idea of V being the one that abducted Evie. I didn't see that coming at all. It really kind of fucked with me. So I think I said that my thoughts on this are positive and that I kind of liked it. I don't know that I really like it. I just don't think that I hate it, but I dislike parts of it.
So would you classify this as a superhero movie?
I would say it's like a comic book movie. It maybe a little bit. I mean, he gets shot 100 times in the chest. I don't know if I'm supposed to be like, oh man, that Kevlar is really putting in work, you know? like I at some point I have to, like, when there's physically impossible feats, that's when I elevate something to like the fantastical comic book superhero echelon. Not that I think he's a superhero per se, but just like he's definitely not a hero. But maybe like as a super powered individual, he gets shot 100 times in the chest and doesn't die right away. Like
he's also very strong.
Yeah, he's very strong. He has a kind of like I was made sort of backstory, you know, like charred to bits, but he emerged stronger kind of thing.
Yeah, and they were going to be making a virus out of him.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious with is like what you define, this is a question to you both, what you guys define as a superhero movie, because this kind of has all of the qualities of one. Like you've got a big bad, you've got someone that has superhuman abilities that is able to garner the praise of the masses and take down the big bad. So like what do you categorize as a superhero movie and why doesn't this fall into that for you, or does it?
I would like to go first, and I would say that a key part of every superhero movie is the struggle of the superhero. It's something that I actually hate about most superhero movies. It's like the internal struggle, right? It's like I don't need 4 movies in a row of Superman being sad about being Superman. You know? Like, I need less of that. I can handle one movie with that, but I need less of that. And insofar that like V is a character, a named character that has dialogue and interactions with people, I don't know that his character is fleshed out because, and I think this is on purpose and certainly feels that way. You know, he is a symbol. It is meant to be a symbol. He is not meant to be a character. And I think that when you do superhero, and part of the genre is, part of the conflict is not just superhero overcomes adversary. It's a conversation of superhero overcomes himself, right? The conflict is always internal. Like, the Flash can't beat Reverse Flash because Reverse Flash is faster than him. So the Flash has to overcome conflict within himself to be able to move faster, right? It's not necessarily Flash versus Reverse Flash because that would be conflict settled in a fist fight. It gets there. But in the same way, V doesn't have a lot of internal conflict. We don't see him have to grow or overcome. He has no character arc. He has a plot, right, which he carries out seamlessly at every step without issue and without mistake, right? And then
I mean,
it's
you
like,
could argue that Evie's an issue that he encounters.
right, but like, I don't know, I don't see him struggle at all. And that, for me, makes this movie about Evie and the police guy, less so about V. V is like a circumstance that they encounter. He just happens to be a human being, right? Like, he's the symbol that they are dealing with, and how that symbol held up against themselves makes them feel about themselves and society and their place in it and, like, the political regime, right? Like, insofar that he exists, he's actually more of like a mirror that other people look at and have different feelings about. To where, like, the police chief goes from being like the straight-laced, I'm gonna get this bitch, to we have to not record ourselves talking in the office. We have to jam the microphones because we are being watched, because we're not doing what the party is telling us to do. And if I'm righteous and the party thinks I'm not, then maybe the party is wrong, right? And her thing is, I didn't do anything wrong and I'm being persecuted. When she finally just basically gets abducted, it's not even by the secret police, it's by V. And then his gift to her is, now you're not afraid of being abducted, basically. And then she lives a random life where she goes to the market and buys fruit and drops it in front of her coworkers. So, you know, those are more or less my thoughts. I don't know that this perfectly fits the criteria of superhero, but I guess I'd go back to what I said at first is, what am I supposed to take away from when I see a man get shot in the chest 100 times? Go ahead, Tommy.
I think that this movie is a superhero movie insofar as that it has a superpowered person in it, but I feel like it feels more as though it's a movie plucked from a different timeline where the standard trappings of a superhero movie went down a totally different path. Superhero movies as we know it kind of have a formula to them, right? And people get what we refer to as like genre fatigue from seeing that same formula over and over, but you can reinvent genres. You could tell new stories in it. And this just feels as though it's a superhero story told with like a different lens and different trappings than what we're used to from a superhero story. So I think it technically is one, but not like a Marvel movie or, you know, a Batman movie. To me, this didn't really feel so much as a vigilante movie as more so a political movie that has a little super powered freak running around in the background causing mayhem. So I guess, you know, I know V is a vigilante, like by definition and whatnot, but I guess, yeah, it just felt like, I feel like I don't know. It just felt like a superhero movie, but totally different in terms of its focus. Cause you know, V isn't the main character. Natalie Portman is. And V himself is like by design kind of nebulous. At least we talked a little bit earlier, our familiarity with this, and Jade, I know that you owned the V for Vendetta graphic novel. I mentioned how I'm a fan of Watchmen and pretty familiar with Alan Moore. I do know that for V for Vendetta, his intent with V when writing the graphic novel was to have him be kind of nebulous in a way where the reader can map, he's up for interpretation from the reader. He can be interpreted many different ways. He's a bit neutral in that way where he's a bit ambiguous. I don't think the movie paints him that way in particular. I do think the movie kind of glorifies what he's up to and makes you want to cheer for that and I guess I'm realizing I never talked, Jade and I didn't go into our in-depth thoughts. And I think this kind of ties into something I wanted to say there. Like, V is despicable. And that's okay for a movie to have a despicable character, right? It's okay for a movie to have this him do this really fucked up thing because it's like, it's fiction. It's this story. And what he does to Natalie Portman is really fucked up. But I think it's the fucked up and irresponsible part comes from the storytellers and everything then having like Natalie, like an actual romance bloom from that. Like that to me is where this movie like really treads into some like murky water and has some questionable stuff is like really the through line. I felt that everything on the perimeter, the world building, I thought the action was pretty fun. But like when you get to the actual story of how he radicalizes Natalie Portman and just kind of the way that they treat it, that to me was pretty icky. I didn't really like that. I think that you can get there without her kind of loving him and him loving her. I think it's more interesting if they are just kind of like accomplices and not romantically involved. And I think once you start adding in elements like he loves her, she loves him, she falls for him, you're getting into the realm of, what incels are really drawn to, this mysterious guy who doesn't play by society's rules, who's an anarchist and rejects all this stuff and is a horrible person and treats these people around him horribly. But at the end of the day, he's expected to get the girl. I think that's where the movie really fails. And that's like, then getting back to like the superhero part, that as a whole just really like it's just very different from something like Batman or like an Iron Man movie. So yeah, I don't know, just as a whole the sum of its parts probably like greater than for me than the actual what was going on. But I guess Jade, what did you think, I guess, on the movie as a whole more in depthly, and then your superhero question?
I guess there's a lot of aspects of the movie that I feel take away from what it was trying to say. Because if you're going to do this dystopian film or this dystopian graphic novel, like you're right to bring in the world building. Obviously, that's a really important part of it. And something that I want to get to later is like taking Evie completely out of it. I feel like this could have been a really well done story. I feel like, in a way, her involvement kind of takes me out of it rather than me fully buying in to what he has to say. Because, like, you're right, V's not a good person, but most of that is stemming from what we see him do to Evie later and gaslighting her and, torturing her because he thinks that he's saving her and making her stronger. But that, in the world that this is set in, like, this is a terrible government. Like, they are killing anyone who's different, anyone who believes anything different religiously, anyone that owns anything different religiously, anyone that is, gay or part of any other different type of community than what they see. And they constantly talk about through the movie people that are in the party. And that was something that was brought, who was it? The guy that CJ. I don't think CJ ever said his name.
The
The inspector
investigator.
guy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Finch. Stephen
Finch.
Ray
Yeah.
is Finch.
At one point, to prove his, what's the word I'm looking for? To prove his like fealty to the cause, he says, "I've been a part of the party for 25 years or something." So that whole political aspect of it shouldn't be lost in how terrible of a person V is to Evie, which I think is something that the story could have done more with.
Hmm. Real quick, you mentioned, a specific example of the government. I mean, it's a fascist state, like through and through, like by definition. I did jot down while we were watching it kind of a list of world building things that they allude to or mention. If you guys don't mind me just running through real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It just really does a good job of setting up how dire this world is. And we see speakers with alarm lights all throughout the streets, and there's curfews. There's like an early conference call scene with a big screen with the leader's face on it, very reminiscent to like the famous Apple 1984 commercial. There's a bunch of documents pertaining to like the prison that they're searching, where all the undesirables were sent, and all the documents relating to it are missing, just covering up like almost genocide. There's spy vans everywhere just listening in on things, driving around. In that specific thing you were talking about, Jade, where he's like talking about how loyal he's been to the party, and like he wasn't finding V fast enough, and they called him like, quote, a dissenter, and they're so quick to turn on someone like that. Like there's exact mention of like gay people being prosecuted. All evidence is like discounted if it's against them. And like an exact quote is, "All discussion of this document and its contents are treason." There are guns aimed at a studio audience threatening them to clap, though that was more of a commentary thing in the fake production that Stephen Fry put on. A quote was like, "Different became dangerous. Dudes executed over having a Quran." And also the target isn't the enemy of the country, but the country itself, like turning on like, quote, enemies within. So it's like all throughout.
Yeah, I just feel like the main thing that we haven't brought up yet too is the biological weapon that the government created too, and the reactions from that. Like, the general population doesn't know that the only reason why they're under this government was because of a testing facility that created a biological weapon to take out the rest of the world and seize power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of circle back, and we were talking about V and him being like, abhorrent and just terrible. And I think that's something that, I don't know that the movie communicates this message well enough, but something that I'm taking away from it is you could really realistically watch this movie and be like, "Oh, V's the good guy." He's doing everything to Natalie Portman that the government did to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is how it starts, right? Like, oh yeah, would V's version of this be better? It might be. Is V is like, oh, well, V's advocating for freedom. It's like, okay, well, that might be better, right? It sounds better, but it's like he's radicalizing people the same way. He shaved Natalie Portman's head and threw her in a fucking concrete prison. He gaslit her and lied to her, and then they had some kind of abusive love relationship, which feels very gross and doesn't feel like it fits. Like, something that is very common in these movies from this time is that everything ends with a love story. And I don't know if the graphic novel has this love story in it or not. But everything has a love story because the girl loves the guy. The guy loves the girl. I don't know if you guys ever watched. You guys ever see the movie Splash? It's the movie Tom Hanks and the Mermaid.
I have.
I have not.
Well, basically, he's on the movie set. I don't remember the director. Was it Ron Howard?
Ron Howard.
Yeah. So Ron Howard's on the set, and Tom Hanks gets a note because Tom Hanks is like, "Whoa!" Like he's on TV, like he's back in Bosom Buddies. And Ron Howard goes, your job is not to score. You want to score. It's not television. You don't need to score. You don't need to get a laugh on everything. Your job is not to be funny. Your job is to love the girl. And at the end, they tried to pivot and make Hugo Weaving into the guy that loves the girl, and that's not... None of it makes sense, right? Also, they didn't have a relationship. Nothing here is a relationship, right? They tack it on and they hope that you don't notice. They didn't have a relationship. They were in an abusive situation. You know, he radicalizes her and turns her into some disconnected, like, he basically turns her into a Sonic Youth fan.
Wow, CJ coming at Sonic Youth fans.
Yeah, all three of you. Yeah, anyway, so, I mean, I just wanted to kind of go back to that, because it's like, he's doing to Natalie Portman what the government did to people like Finch, and we're just seeing the evolution of that 25 years later. And again, V's version might be better, but his means to get there are the same. And also, achieving it via violence is also, yeah, it's a symbol. Yeah, oh, we're destroying the jail and we're destroying Parliament. It's a symbol. They're just buildings. Last time I checked, there's people in those buildings. Oh, I announced it a year in advance so that nobody would dare be in the building. It's like, okay. You're still destroying a building, You can't expect there to be no casualties. I don't know. So, it's sort of my to tie that little thing up with a neat little bow.
But CJ, the country needs more than a building right now.
That's it.
Who's got something they want to jump into? Who's got something they want to talk about?
I'm looking up something real quick because I got the graphic novel, but I didn't read it fully in its entirety. I wanted to kind of just see more of how the world building was. And I'm looking at a SparkNotes version to see how it ends. As V dies in Evie's arms, he tells Evie he loves her and gives her an enigmatic mission to simultaneously discover whose face was behind the mask, but to never know his face. Evie considers V's final words and again wonders if he might have been her father.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't want him to be the father. That kind of makes everything feel worse.
Like I mentioned in the commentary track as well, in the graphic novel, Evie is 16 years old.
Ew.
So this takes place over the span of a year because the explosion or the demolition of
the Old Bailey.
The Old Bailey happens on November 5th of one year. The next day is when V calls everyone to action 1 year later, which means Evie would be then 17.
Oh, then that's okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. I originally thought, because I didn't say this in the commentary track, I originally thought it was John Rhys Davies.
Ooh, behind the mask?
Yeah.
Speaking of the mask,
I was thinking about Gimli.
You thought gotcha. Gimli was back there?
Yeah.
Gimli.
No way.
We were actually just talking this weekend about Tommy's dogs and who they would be in The Lord of the Rings. And he said Duncan would be Gimli.
Easily.
Who would Edison be?
I think Aragorn.
Oh, we did mention that. Yeah, you said Aragorn.
Because she's scrappy, If Edison goes into a battle, I'm putting my money on her 10 times out of 10.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Who's the battle against?
Gimli.
I'm the Uruk-hai in this story.
Oh, definitely Edison.
Okay. Did want to talk about The Mask a little bit more.
The Jim Carrey movie?
Yes, the Jim Carrey movie. And the movie that we just watched, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, got it.
Right.
CJ, do you have the recap ready for us?
Of The Mask?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've never seen The Mask. I think that a mask lands on Jim Carrey.
What are you talking about? We just watched it.
Oh my god.
I thought you were about to recap Gladiator 2.
I could recap Gladiator 2. I've never seen it.
Oh my God, CJ, you were
We
supposed
just
to
watched
watch
it last week.
He's dead. I didn't even know he was sick. All right.
The Mask.
The Mask, as in the Guy Fawkes mask in V for Vendetta, the movie we just watched. Um, this movie came out in 2005. I was 7 when it came out, and I remember like this becoming a really big like pop culture moment. And like it was the top Halloween costume of the time. It really brought out some of the worst in people, I feel like. What are your guys' experiences, I guess, pop culturally with The Mask? Had you seen The Mask before?
Yes, I've seen The Mask a lot. I've actually seen people wear it in person. My experience with the Guy Fawkes mask largely relates to kind of the early to mid 2010s and people like 4chan users kind of co-opting it and making it part of their personality and like going to meetups and just seeing shit online from people doing like weird or messed up shit while wearing the Guy Fawkes mask and thinking it makes them super cool. And I just almost immediately identify it with like some of the worst people on the planet.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever like seen it used online or like in an image or a video of someone wearing it and doing stuff and me being like, man, that was pretty cool. No, it's most of the time it's fucked up people doing fucked up shit wearing a mask because they're too cowardly to show their face because they wouldn't do it if you could identify them. I feel like the only time this like the Guy Fawkes mask has like, you know, been seen a bit more publicly or like in mainstream is it's been kind of co-opted by the group Anonymous and the group Anonymous, the hacker group, I can't speak to them or say that they are a good group of people. I cannot do that because I am not familiar enough with them, and I'm pretty sure they've also done fucked up stuff over the years. But I'm pretty sure the group has kind of reemerged in the 2020s and is a bit more like progressive and has done like kind of like black hat justice in a way. So it has been, you know, there's a bit of a different spin on it in the 2020s than it had a decade ago, but still kind of the same. So yeah, just generally when I see the mask, if I see someone wearing this mask, I would probably scoff if I'm being genuine.
What about you, CJ? Had you seen The Mask IRL before?
I had seen like I always associate it with like being really cringe. Like I see like guys that like really nerdy people. It was like felt like it was a Halloween costume for them. Had the hat and the mask, and they'd wear like the long coat, the fedora kind of thing. You know, just felt like people that are like, you know, I don't want to like generalize because I was also a nerdy, awkward kid at one point in my life, and I didn't wear a Guy Fawkes mask, but I also had a hard time fitting in, and also kind of felt like an outcast. Having said all that, it feels like they hear the top line of this movie for V being like, society ruined him and he's coming back with vengeance. Like, yeah, society didn't ruin you, bud. You're just awkward as fuck. You know? It's not that girl's fault that she doesn't like you. There's nothing to like about you. You know? Why don't you put some effort into your own self? Right? Like, why don't girls like you? Because you're weird and understanding. You don't know how to talk to people. And you're not physically attractive. All things that you could do yourself to change your situation if you wanted. It's easy to be angry at someone else when things are not right in your life, right? It's hard to actually make changes and to get better and to, you know, like, I just associate it with people in card shops with, like, no hygiene and, like, just like clothes that don't fit and like ass crack showing and belly showing and like shirts that are just one size too small. And it's like, or like My other car is a TARDIS bumper sticker on like a beat ass old like '04 Chevy or Honda. And it's like, yeah, bro, like I hear you. Yeah, it's kind of tough that like, you have a hard time interacting with people, but have you considered the fact that you're like unappealing to most senses? Just
Go
like
off.
I'm just like I have a real problem when people are like the world is my problem, and I'm like, is that your problem, or is your problem that you need some Irish Spring? Is your problem that like you don't know how to wear clothes?
Is your problem that you see a girl that you like and you think you should imprison her until she breaks and loves you?
Yeah, like you think that the story of abducting a girl who trusted you and keeping her in a dry well makes you a hero and not Buffalo Bill.
I mean, she didn't trust him. She ran away from him.
This is true. Like that's not love, guys, So if you can't like dust off the Cheetle from your fingers and like put on some deodorant and a shirt that fits that isn't a graphic tee long enough to like learn how to talk to other people, then I got nothing for you. Also, quit fucking with that AI. It ain't real.
Says the person who used Chat GPT on this podcast.
No, I'm talking about the people that like. I'm talking about
Flossie
like
was a good
the AI chatbot people
that
are like, I'm gonna role play with Daenerys Targaryen. It's like, okay.
Wait, you can do that?
What?
Wait, what website has this so I can make sure I don't go there?
Stop it.
This might not be the best. A kid died.
Oh, that's right. The kid died.
Yeah,
Oh,
that might not
I
be the
forgot
best
about
example.
that. CJ, come on.
What?
Come on.
I didn't remember that.
Daenerys Targaryen might not be the best example
All right,
for that.
All right, hang on.
Wait, is that who the kid was talking to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
And
I
then
didn't know that.
the chatbot was trying to convince him not to do it too.
Yeah.
All right, hang on.
Whoa.
Hang on. So like, just like quit fucking with that chatbot, the you fucking talking to Harley Quinn. She's a fictional character. Get over it.
You can do that? You can talk to Harley Quinn online?
Knock it off. All right, what are we talking about now?
The Mask.
So
Let's get back to the Mask.
We didn't talk about the mask.
We're still talking about the mask. The
Oh,
mask
okay,
is a
good.
big plot point, just like the Jeep.
The
Just
Jeep,
like the Jeep.
but the Jeep is important.
For, maybe the first scene.
They fucking almost died in that Jeep.
No, they didn't.
The top got eaten off of it.
You're
The
thinking
one
of the Ford
Explorer.
Explorer.
That's the Jeep.
No. Oh, the Jeep is the thing right around at the start, CJ.
This is an important plot point, okay?
Oh,
So,
I'm in
The mask.
pain.
The mask. AI chatbot, the mask.
oh my god. At one point in the movie, V says the mask is an idea. Do you feel like people in the movie, did people get behind the mask or did they get behind the person?
Well, there's no. Go ahead.
I think they got behind the mask because they don't know the person. So when I hear him say the mask is an idea, like I think more he's saying that is like if he came out publicly and was like, my name is Gerald Davis. And people are like, oh, fuck, Gerald Davis, the anarchist. And then if Gerald Davis dies, well, people are like, oh, shit, okay, well, the anarchy's dead. Whereas if he stays anonymous, it's like, yeah, there's some dude with a mask out there who does this. And then, like, everyone has the mask. It's like,
Can't believe you're doxing Gerald Davis right now.
oh, fuck, okay, I'll censor it. But, I think that it was more the idea. I do think that, and this is the part of the movie that, struck strongest with me is the whole building wave of people joining his side and everything like that. And I think, a lot of people got radicalized by the government to the point where they were willing to stand up with this mask on and join this fight with this idea, as opposed to standing up and fighting alongside Gerald Davis.
Yeah,
So
I mean, sorry, I didn't
Go
mean to
ahead.
cut you off. I was just gonna say that, yeah, I agree. Like, not that, like, you can take out a person, but you can't take out an idea, right? Which is kind of his point. But at the same time, the mask becomes everybody, right? So like everybody can wear the mask. There was a thing that Stan Lee said about Spider-Man. He didn't know this at the time, but when he drew Spider-Man, there's no skin showing for Spider-Man. There's no characteristics of who's under the mask, and that means that anybody can be under the mask. Yeah, they show Peter Parker and stuff, but and they show you who's under there. But when you're wearing the costume, anybody can be Spider-Man, and it's unique because he was one of the only superheroes at the time that had a full body suit and mask, and that none of the other characters did. And that's why Spider-Man has more popularity with other groups. I would say ethnic groups, but I'm saying like in general he has more widespread popularity because anybody can be Spider-Man. And in that way, anybody can wear the Guy Fawkes mask and carry on this revolution that they're doing, you know?
Mm-hmm. So I guess in general, how do you both feel about the choice to, one, never take off his mask, and two, never truly identify who he is?
I liked it just because I think that from a story perspective, I think it's just stronger to not have a concrete example. You know, it's one of those things, once you let that cat out of the bag, it's less interesting. It's more interesting to think of him as, like Natalie Portman says, like, he was my father, he was my mother, he was so-and-so, he was so-and-so. Like, he represents all of the people who have lost their life and have fought against this fascist government. And if you just say his name is Gerald Davis, he's a dock worker, I just think it's less interesting because we're like, oh, so that's who it was, as opposed to if you learn who it is, the discussion's more around who he is as opposed to who he stands for or what he stands for. So that's why I like the choice to never know who he is, really.
Well, it doesn't matter who he is. Like it legitimately doesn't matter. It's like when you're like reading a story to a kid and they want to know how it ends, right? They just want to know the ending. Like, no. Like, you have to listen to the whole story. You have to do it in order, and you can't jump to the end and know, right? That might mean that you have to live with some uncertainty, but like the story is the thing that you're here for, not the ending, right? The ending doesn't matter. So, I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter. The point of it is the whole story as a unit, right? So, like, kids always like, well, then what happens? Then what happens? How does it end? How does it end? Like, no, like, learn to live with that, like, little bit of discomfort. He could be anybody. It doesn't matter who he is, because also, we're having this really deep discussion about it, and I'm like, yeah, the guy's still a piece of shit. You know, like, I mean, two things can be true, but it just, part of me is just like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, if we knew who he was, it would be way less interesting, because, like, okay, now we have to get background on the guy.
I'm Gerald Davis.
Why would Gerald Davis, a dock worker, leave his job as the portsmouth to go be this guy, right? And it's like, no one cares. Why didn't any of the other people become radicalized? The movie shows you people get abducted with black bags over their head while their families watch and are taken away and they're never seen again, right? It's like, okay, that means that anybody can be because that's the whole point. Just one person had to be like given the tools and the time and the energy and the money to be like, yeah, cool. And I think in the end, he's like, it took me 10 years to dig this tunnel to get to Parliament. That's why it took me so long, because it took me time to dig the tunnel. It's like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I'm Gerald Davis. I dug this tunnel on my way home. Like, I guess.
Jade, what about you? What are your thoughts in regards to the mask and the identity?
I think it was definitely a choice. I think I don't know. I feel like I feel like they could have identified him in some way because we did find out aspects of his backstory that, like, I don't think we needed to see his face. I think that was fine, but maybe giving him a name other than V maybe would have humanized him a little bit. And I'm not sure if him being a human is necessary, and that's also something I want to talk about when it comes to him and Evie's quote unquote romance. But I think giving him a name would have humanized him in a way that I would have been rooting for him a little bit more, even though he was a piece of shit.
Yeah, I guess
But
that's. I was gonna ask, like, is he worth humanizing? Is he a character that you even want to have humanized?
I guess I don't know because, like, at the end, I don't know how this was for you guys, but I even found myself being like, oh, I kind of hope Evie doesn't blow up. Like, I wasn't rooting for him
Wow,
to
you were
succeed,
rooting
I
for the
guess.
fascist government?
No, I was not rooting for the fascist government. I was rooting for the people. I was hoping the people would do something. Um, like the people, when they all put on the masks and everything, they all just kind of like stormed there to look at it.
Yeah, what did they
And they
do?
didn't actually do anything. They literally didn't do anything.
They just
V
stormed the
acted
Capitol.
alone. I get, like, okay, maybe you can argue that they incited a lot of the riots that happened when he sent out all the masks, which made the government, frantic and made people turn against them faster. Maybe that's something that they did.
Mm.
But, like, most of the time, V acted alone. He dug the tunnel alone. He came up with this big, elaborate plan alone. But he's not really someone that you're rooting for to succeed. So, would the humanization of him be necessary? No. But at the same time, I found myself almost looking for it. But at the end, I was like, oh, he's everyone. It felt like a Care Bear type ending for a not Care Bear movie.
Care Bear
I'm just
ass
saying,
ending.
the Care Bear movie fucking goes hard.
Next on our duology of Care Bear movies.
Ooh,
Oh, God.
Don't throw at me with a good time. Ah, man.
So I guess bringing something up, CJ, that you mentioned earlier, you mentioned V being on the TV and everything and being very outspoken in public. Do you think the movement would have still been as effective if you never saw him televised?
No, I mean that's a core plot beat, but I guess my thinking is like, does he need to be so involved in like the actual like day-to-day moments of the plot? Because he's like around a lot. He's fencing and he's listening to music and he's dancing and he's making breakfast. Like, I don't know about all that. I mean, I guess that's the stuff that humanizes him. Like, yeah, he's not a terrorist. He likes music and he makes eggs. Like, and he has real butter. Like, I guess so. But also, like, if none of that happened and he was just someone that came in once or twice, it'd be like, I don't know. I don't have very strong feelings on him in general as a character. I feel like I've cooked the whole bird on him. I have no more like interesting insights to give about the guy because he's so. Man, there's a scene in God of War Ragnarok, and this is a little bit of a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil what they say, but I'm going to give away the scene that exists. He goes to visit the Norns because he wants to know how to protect somebody. And their message to him is, listen, fate is not like pre-spun, right? We give prophecies because you guys are so predictable. Like, it doesn't matter if you knew what you were going to do, you would still do it because you are the sum of your choices and nothing more. And then they tell Kratos, the main character of God of War, what he's going to do, even though it's the exact thing he's trying to prevent, and then he does it anyway to a T, because his choices are very predictable. So in the same way, it's like, it's not a great big surprise that he does any of the things that he does, because the first thing that we see him do is kill people and then blow up the jail. So it's like, when he says he's going to blow up Parliament, it's like, it's the gun under the table. It's the bomb on the table. It's the, you are the sum of your choices. Because you blow up buildings, this is how the movie ends. And now we're just waiting to see how much bullshit is going to happen between then and now. And we're really, because we're talking so much about V, and because in my synopsis I completely forgot about the guy whose name I don't remember, Stephen Ray.
Finch,
right? Because we're not talking about him, that's like half the movie. Half the movie is like a procedural with like a shadow government over top, right? To your credit, you said Jade, you had thought it'd be more interesting if she didn't launch the train. I thought it'd be more interesting if Finch launched the train.
That's where I thought it was going as well.
Like, yeah, he's already turned Evie, but Evie was like neutral. Turn someone who was on the opposite side of the alignment chart to your cause. You know, show someone who's invested in the structure of the system, like someone who's been a part of the party for 25 years and who's a chief inspector in the police. Show that person turning. That's power.
Though, granted, I guess Finch does kind of turn in the end because he is able to stop Evie from the train, but he does let her do it. Like, he can actively stop her, and he does let her. So I guess by him being passive, he is choosing to turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's more subtle. I was just kind of elucidating, like, Jade's what-if scenario and, like, what I would have preferred if she didn't pull the lever. Also...
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Yeah, pull... Wrong lever!
Good movie.
That movie used to scare the shit out of me. We've been over this a million times, but yeah. Anyway, good movie. Like, also, at that point, it doesn't matter if Evie pulls the lever or doesn't. Like, nothing about the movie changes if she doesn't pull the lever. If she doesn't pull it, the thing doesn't blow up Parliament. Someone comes in to pull the lever. Or the mob, the angry mob, blow up the building. Right? He's created a perfect situation. Because whether or not Evie chooses to blow up the building is irrelevant, because the massive hordes of people that arrive to see a building blow up will most certainly destroy the fucking thing when it doesn't blow up. So, and it doesn't do anything for her character to pull the trigger, you know? At that point, everything about her is done. You know? And then she loves the guy. So, that's weird.
And her job is to love the guy. That's what Ron Howard told her.
My favorite part of the movie was the Valerie note stuff.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
That was all good. Yeah.
I did find that whole sequence of him radicalizing her and the reveal. I did find that all to be like genuinely gripping and engaging. And I think that there's, again, like I was talking about earlier, the stuff that really did it for me with this movie was all of the stuff on the perimeter. In this Valerie kind of story and whatnot, roses turn out to be a huge part of her story, which roses are a big part of V's kind of visual identity and calling card. And it was interesting to see the way he had adopted parts of other people who were against the government or victimized by the government, him kind of adopt those as part of his movement. But anyway, CJ, was there someone that you originally thought V was, or am I mistaken?
John Rhys-Davies.
Right.
Why?
I don't know. I thought he was Gimli back there.
I mean, like, right movie, just wrong person.
Not the beard! That guy.
What?
Textain. That guy.
Interesting.
Sorry, can you do more?
Yeah.
Salted pork. Yeah. He says that.
So I guess, Tommy, you kind of started on a conversation that I want to have. And the main thing that all of us had an issue with in this movie was Natalie Portman, or Evie, being taken by V. I want to talk more about that
Mm-hmm.
and like the lead into that and what your guys' initial feelings watching that for the first time was throughout that whole sequence.
When she got taken, I would be lying if I said I didn't think that there was some hinky stuff going on, just because of the nature of how it played out with her getting abducted. It wasn't like, it didn't clearly show her getting, like, you saw her get abducted by someone in vaguely police clothing, I'm pretty sure, but it wasn't like overt, you get down on the ground, whatever, a lot of it was obscured from us. So I was like, that was kind of interesting, and it kind of left the window open for it. But it wasn't until like near the end when we see very clearly the dude interrogating her was wearing gloves. Now, it all kind of fell into place. Yeah, I thought I think that the whole sequence is made genuinely more interesting by it being something that was of V's construction. I think that her getting radicalized by a fascist government, it can be interesting and is interesting in stories, but her being abducted by an anarchist against the fascist government to break her and have her like no longer fear death to the point where she will be willing to fight against this fascist government, I think that's pretty interesting and unique. Like this whole idea, he like Stockholm syndromes her kind of in a way. And I just thought it was a lot more interesting and makes you sit up in your seat a bit more once it's all revealed, as opposed to she escaped from the internment camp and now has a vengeance because she's upset the government did that to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was gripping, and the reveal was like, but like apart from that, it was I don't like the sequence. Like I could not watch that sequence again and feel gripped by it.
Yeah. See, this is what's particularly interesting to me, and the fact that neither of you guys had seen the movie prior, because I've seen the Natalie Portman head shaving scene on like film Twitter, or I guess like film Blue Sky now, um, all the time. I see it at least 2 to 3 times a year on film Twitter, and people talking about that very specific sequence of her getting her head shaved, watching it back now that you know that it's V, and how like sinister that scene almost is, watching it back a second time or a third time.
It's like
Knowing.
recontextualized.
Yes. So I would say if you're comfortable with it, I would go back and watch the scene again, fully knowing all of that from the start, because it does seem different and it makes you feel gross watching it back.
Sounds like it'll be a comfort scene for me to fall asleep to every night.
Such a
Every night.
weird thing to say in that situation.
I don't know what you're talking about. Unless you guys have something to jump into with it, I do have kind of a related question.
Yeah, go for it.
So speaking of the whole Natalie Portman radicalization scene, earlier in the movie, there is a scene where she and V are watching a movie themselves, and they talk. I can't remember the intimate details of it. It was in the movie they were watching. There was something about there was a woman who, some love story with a guy, and Natalie Portman asks V in that moment whether or not she felt bad for the girl in the movie. So in that moment, I was like, oh, this has got to be, what's it called? Foreshadowing for later. I wonder if it's going to be like a thematic parallel. Oh, are we going to feel bad for her later? So got to ask, did you guys feel bad for Natalie Portman in this movie? Was there anything that happened to her that made you feel bad for her?
The head shaving, but as we kind of covered that. I mean, hair trigger, I almost want to say the death of her innocence, but she was a prostitute anyway. So, like, she doesn't have innocence in that way, but just like, maybe she was just dragged into this, I mean, she put herself out there and she I mean, the alternative to this was being willfully raped by a bunch of secret police. So, not ideal. I don't know if I feel bad for anyone.
Gotcha.
I feel bad for her that her parents were taken and she had to see that. That's terrible. But I don't feel bad for anything. No.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I do. I do feel bad for some of the stuff that happens to her, like the head shaving and the being tortured but like where she ends up.
I did write down the full context. She feels sorry for the girl in the movie because the guy in the movie was more concerned with revenge than he was with her.
Oh, so that's really, yeah.
Do you remember what the movie was?
No, you know what? I'm gonna skim through the movie and try and find it.
It was The Count of Monte Cristo, I believe.
That's one of my favorite pieces of literature that was written by who wrote that? Pretty sure it was Weird Al, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it. He's got a great way with words.
Back in 1844.
Yes. Prolific.
It's Alexander Dumas, right?
No, I did not go to the mall recently. Oh wait, no, I was at the mall last weekend.
Alexander Dumas.
We went and got Cheesecake Factory.
I've never been to a Cheesecake Factory.
I hadn't until last weekend.
How was it?
It was good. It was really good.
Did you get
I had cheesecake for the first time? Yeah, I had never had cheesecake before, too.
I've never had cheesecake.
I think, what desserts do you normally like?
I like...
thank you for following me on Blue Sky.
Oh, thank you, yeah. I didn't know that I had one. I just followed a hooker by accident. Oh, it's okay. What are we talking about?
Oh my god.
What?
We were talking about Count of Monte Cristo and the movie, and whatever. I was asking whether or not you felt bad for her. I did want to point out something that
she asked me what desserts I like.
Oh, we're back to that. Okay, yes, desserts.
We never left.
I thought we were getting back to the movie.
No. I like white cake with white frosting. I like brownies. I like cookie pizza. Like the cookie they make in the skillet. I like chocolate chip cookies in general. Man, I like vanilla ice cream. I like, you know what I really like? One of my favorite things to have for dessert is lemon Italian ice.
Italian ice is nice.
Nice.
Italian ice is nice. My friend used to own an Italian ice and gelato store, and I got her to bring me some of her very, very nice Italian ice one time, and that was the best Italian ice I've ever had. She doesn't have the store anymore, but It was really cool.
So you're going to bring it up just to say, by the way, you guys can never try it.
Just like I brought up that I'm chasing the dragon with the chasing the dragon with the pickles and the ribwich, yeah.
Dragging these nuts across your face.
Oh!
What?
Got him!
What?
Damn.
So, in the movie, getting back, something I did want to point out is I did like, there was a little bit of a parallel with when Natalie Portman escapes the prison V put her in compared to V. And I thought it was a bit in... What's up?
Sorry. Can we go back? I never answered your question.
Yes.
Did I feel bad for Natalie Portman? The answer is no, that bitch had it coming. Sorry, please continue.
Let's hear it.
Bitch better have my money.
She just she put herself in a lot of precarious situations where she didn't need to. First of all, she's out after curfew. When who's in the streets after curfew? The Fingermen. Gets herself involved with V. The next day, she's at the TV station, and she pepper sprays the guy to save V and then is knocked out. And then she gets taken under his wing. I don't know. I just feel like she keeps putting herself in these situations to be in danger that, I don't necessarily feel bad for her, because I think she's grown enough to know the potential consequences of getting herself involved with a masked vigilante. But, you know, I don't know. I wasn't rooting for anyone really in this movie other than the little girl with the thick glasses
The
who
one who gets
died.
gunned down.
Yeah.
Gunned down in
She
the
was the
street
o-
like the degenerate she is.
She was the only one I was rooting for. But also, I pulled up the storyline for the Count of Monte Cristo movie, and I will just read you guys this a little bit on what the movie's about. The Count of Monte Cristo is an adaptation of the Alexander Dumas tale by the same name. Dantes, a sailor, is falsely accused of treason by his best friend Fernand, who wants Dantes's girlfriend Mercedes for himself. Dantes is imprisoned on the island prison of Chateau. I can't speak French. For 13 years, where he plots revenge against those who betrayed him. With help from another prisoner, he escapes the island and proceeds to transform himself into the wealthy Count of Monte Cristo as part of his plan to exact revenge.
So they watched V for Vendetta.
Basically, yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry, please continue with what you were saying before.
No. So something I found interesting was when Natalie Portman escapes we see both V's escape from his prison and Natalie Portman's escape from her prison. And V's escape is almost like a birth by fire. We see him walking out of fire, this fire that horribly burns him. And he, enters this world from his prison to and from the flames. Natalie Portman, on the other hand, she exits and it's like almost like Shawshank Redemption. It is pouring rain on her. So I thought it was a bit interesting, the two of them, kind of like two sides of the same coin, radicalized in these prisons, but emerging in almost opposite ways, one by water and one by fire.
Mhm.
I personally haven't found a way that it necessarily maps to their actions because, generally they still went through with the plan, the both of them. But I did think it was interesting enough to at least warrant bringing up.
I think this might just be a little bit of my, high school English side coming out, and maybe I'm reading way too far into this, kind of like the green light in the Great Gatsby means envy. But I definitely see it as V was kind of birthed by fire. Like that vengeance was birthed out of him by fire. And then maybe Evie's fear was washed away by the rain. So like they both had these rebirths in a way for different reasons. One was washing away the fear, one was creating a monster.
I buy into that.
What do you think, CJ?
I agree with you both.
Wow.
Wow.
Just trying to smooth things over, huh?
Listen, I think that you guys are making a lot of really interesting points, and I think that when I listen back to this, I'm going to feel bad for not having more to say, but just being real, I am running out of things to say about V for Vendetta.
Okay.
I have used most of my analysis.
Wow, well, it's a good thing we got other parts of the movie to talk about. Let's go, baby.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm not complaining. I think you guys are really nailing it. So, like, when you guys say everything that I think that I could possibly add, I'm like, yep, you got it. I like what you had to say.
Man. This is what watching movies would be like with us if you were with us every weekend. We have one of these. We have a personal podcast episode for every movie we watch together.
Mm-hmm.
Really intense.
I feel like we didn't have that when we were here. When you were here.
I feel like we did. We talked, you just didn't like what we had to say.
Yeah.
About Vertigo.
Yeah.
That was a little different.
What else did we watch when we were over there? We watched Vertigo,
Fiction,
Ocean's 11, Pulp Fiction. We had a lot of talk about Pulp Fiction. What are you talking about?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we dove into the whole discourse surrounding what was in the case.
And feet.
And feet, as you have mentioned on this podcast. that you have an obsession with Tarantino movies
No,
and the feet that are inside them.
No.
Guys, it was crazy. So between last year when I visited CJ and now, CJ had put up an entire wall of every frame in a Tarantino movie that includes feet. And he called it his Tarantino wall. It was a very forced pun. But we pretended that it worked just to appease CJ.
You are crossing a line right now because you know that I fucking hate feet. This is a line that I cannot stand that you crossed.
Did you guys ever come up with that safe word?
No, we didn't, but we're getting there.
I will never abide by a safe word with CJ.
We're getting there, which means we're not there yet.
You know, people
CJ,
think that I'm the outrageous one. You're the outrageous one.
No, I'm not.
You fucking, in a video you wrote, it's going to be out by the time that this podcast comes out, so I'm going to fucking say it. You had a line written for Marge in The Simpsons Hit and Run that was like, "You cunt." And I was like, wow, that seems a little harsh for Marge. And you wrote back, "I don't know what you talk about. That's just how Morg talks."
No, it's Marg. Yeah,
Marg.
Get it right.
Marg.
That's how Marg talks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. And then
it was
fucking
really
hit me back. Then you hit me back later. I can't believe you said that cunt was too far.
Yeah. And here you are dropping it. I would never say that word out loud.
What?
And here you are just dropping it so casually.
I can't win.
Rubbing my hands together.
I don't even remember what I was angry about.
As long as it's not your feet together.
No feet. No feet. I hate feet.
Yeah, your feet wall. I was telling them about your
There's no foot
wall.
I fucking hate feet. I can't stand the feet.
And
I
that's
look away
and
in
that's
the
why
movie.
no one would ever believe you have a Tarantino wall.
Everyone believes him because they believe everything that comes out of your fucking mouth.
That's not what the guy that sat next to you on the plane said.
What?
About him, what was it, Tommy, that CJ said? That he was rubbing his bare feet all over him?
No feet.
Yeah.
There's no feet. Oh my god.
Man, it's fun having a guest on this podcast.
Yeah, it's great. Why don't you stay forever? Why don't you come back next week?
You mean it? You mean it?
I'm 100% dead ass serious. Permanent new fucking host.
While we're talking about...
I'll fucking leave.
Oh, no, don't leave.
While we're talking about feet and weird
No more
fetishes,
feet! No more!
Let's talk about how this was Weird Fetish Girl, the movie.
You would pivot to that. And of course, I wrote that. The weird outfit that they have her wear is very fetishy and yucky and...
Yeah, she was going to...
the priest.
She was
scene.
seducing a priest or something.
I know, but like when... Yeah, she's doing that to the priest, but then the camera is her in the wide. So it's like she's doing it to the audience too.
I think that was the point, was to make people uncomfortable.
They do a good job of that.
Good. I will make sure to include that in the letter that I am writing to the director.
Oh, please.
My friend said you did a really good job at this part when she danced and she was dressed really uncomfortably. He really liked that scene.
Who was that? Stop. What are you? This isn't even funny anymore. Is your only joke that I say something and then you say that I actually mean the opposite?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You must have other jokes.
It's one of my 3 jokes.
Yeah,
What are the other 2?
I don't.
Well, I can't use all my material now.
This is the perfect time to use it.
No.
This is exasperating.
Exhausting, I bet.
Yeah, I am tired. Big finish.
Okay, well, at one point, getting back to the actual movie, when Natalie Portman is released out of her fake jail, she is talking to V about how she's going to leave and everything. And at one point, V says they created a monster in him, which I couldn't help but kind of draw a parallel a little bit to Frankenstein. But also at one point he says he uses like Newton's law of motion, which is for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Now, Tommy, being a scientist, what do those words mean?
All right. So this
Please mansplain it to me.
Yeah. So the idea of for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. What this means is like imagine you push against a wall. For however hard you push that wall, the wall is pushing back. That's essentially
I've
what
never
that
felt
means.
a wall push back at me.
Excuse me, walls don't push.
Actually there's no acceleration being done, so that means that there is an equal force being pushed back against you from the wall.
I've never seen a wall push anybody.
What if I
well,
punch a wall?
Just telling you, that's how it works at a physics level. If you
But
were
what
to
if I
draw
punch it and my hand goes through it? I feel like the wall lost the fight.
Yeah, I mean, well, at that point we got bigger issues.
I think the wall's a little bitch.
So the exact quote from the movie, he's like, "You were in the cell next to her. That's what it was all about. You're getting back at them for what they did to her and to you." Then V says, "What was done to me created me. It's a basic principle of the universe that every action will create an equal and opposite reaction." She's like, "Is that how you see it, like an equation?" He said, "What was done to me was monstrous." And she says, "And they created a monster." So yeah, he's saying like, yeah, they were fucked up to me and that created this monster that's going to be fucked up back. And I get what he's going for, but that's not a good application of that principle.
So do you think that he was trying to do that with Evie and create a monster as well by putting her through the exact same thing? Or do you genuinely think that he was trying to save her?
So, okay, I guess question real quick. Why did he need her? Could the plot have gone off without a hitch without her?
I don't think he needed her. I think she just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And he did this whole thing to her just because of that?
Well, no. Like, the first situation where he encounters her for the first time, that's just she happened to be where he was going to be.
Right.
Because he doesn't prowl the streets like a vigilante. He just happened to be there.
Right.
Then, when she goes to her job, it just so happens that he is going to where she works.
Okay.
Right? So that's also a coincidence. When she protects him, he saves her. So again, he doesn't need her. She needed him because he saved her. Right? Then, when it's like, okay, if you leave, you're going to reveal that I'm here and I can't let you do that. Then he lets her leave anyway. Or anyway, she leaves anyway and he doesn't like go track her down. Except he does because she knows where he lives. And then he abducts her. And then all that stuff, that's like the first time where it's like he's doing something outside of just reacting to what she's doing. Like he's doing something from his own psychosis, which is also why I kind of feel so fucked up because she's the main character and someone else's like psychological issues are being like forced onto her. And so she becomes whatever she becomes. He doesn't need her. I don't know why he did that to her. Something he cares about her, but no, the plot basically carries on exactly the same if he never meets her. Because the only thing that would be different is he would pull the lever before going to see the Chancellor.
I guess what I'm struggling with, though, in that logic is like I am agreeing with you all the way up until the point where she is abducted by V. I guess if she was actually taken by the police, which was going to happen if V wasn't there, she would have been taken by the police and she would have been killed if she did not give V away. What you had mentioned is V sought after her because she knew where he lived. Do you think that to be true, or do you think he sought after her with this protective instinct because he loved her and he wanted to make sure that she was okay, and he genuinely took her and put her through hell because he knew that she would be going through the exact same thing regardless, and she potentially would have run away again to go back into the arms of the police?
Listen, when I love someone, I tell them that I love them. I tell them that I appreciate them. I give them nice gifts. I help them do things that, need to be done. I do errands, I do chores, right? I take the time to say how I feel. I don't indoctrinate anybody. I don't enslave them. I don't force them. I don't torture them, right? That's that we're saying that it's love because that's what the final line of the movie says. And but that's not love. That's, I don't know what the fuck that is. But again, he's a monster. So me trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who's a monster, it's a good thing that I can't rationalize why he did what he did because I'm not a monster. Right? I can understand basically why Natalie Portman reacted the way that she did in almost every situation. Because it's if someone did that to me, I'd want to get away from him too. And I mean, that's what she did. She wanted to get away from him. She wanted to get away from him so bad that she put on that weird pedophile thing. So,
but also, if she left, she would have been killed.
Yeah, I think again.
So he had to transform her to no longer be afraid so that she could live on her own again.
Was that why he did it?
I'm not saying I'm agreeing with any of this, but his main goal of capturing her was to make her fearless.
Right.
Because she would have just ran away from him again.
Listen, a Beyonce record does the same shit.
So, okay, what I'm hearing is he imprisoned her so she would live without fear. Why did he want her to live without fear? Just so she would survive?
No, she did say that. She said in the beginning of the movie that she wishes she wasn't so afraid all the time.
Okay. So he did her a favor, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, he owes her.
Okay.
He tortured her and traumatized her because he knew that if she wasn't with him being tortured and traumatized, that she would be tortured and traumatized somewhere else.
I mean, she was already pretty tortured and traumatized watching her own parents die in front of her or get captured in front of her when she was 10.
I'm not saying that she doesn't have baggage. I'm just saying, his rationale was if I don't abduct her and torture her, she will be abducted, tortured, and killed.
Yeah.
Which is worse than being abducted and tortured.
Yeah.
Because my plan is to kill myself.
Yeah.
So where I'm stuck up, where I'm confused is okay, he does that to her, yes. But I guess at what point then did he implicate her in his plan?
What do you mean by that?
So his big plan is to blow up Parliament. At some point, he's like, you know what? Natalie Portman would be real good at blowing up Parliament. Right?
Okay.
So I guess my question is why though? Why her? Why did he go down? I know, yes, wrong place, wrong time. But why did... I guess it's hard because we don't really fully know V. I wish we had just a little bit more of this okay, you did this to her so she'll live without fear because maybe you love her, I guess. He admits later that he loves her, but it just doesn't feel, it feels like that was done for the sake of the love plot, I guess, then, as opposed to the actual blowing up Parliament plot. Her getting turned into living without fear feels totally unconnected to the blowing up Parliament plot the more we talk about it. And it feels like it was just there more as a statement of his love to make her live without fear and be able to survive in this society.
Do you think that there was an alternative for her?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. The alternative very well may be she just dies. But that's also an alternative that is, I feel like that choice is taken out of her hands by V,
Yeah. So I guess going all the way back to the beginning of the movie, when she meets V for the first time, do you remember where she was on her way to?
Ooh,
She was on her way to Gordon's house.
Gordon. The Stephen Fry, the talk show host.
Yes, the guy that was her former boss who had like the Quran and stuff like that.
Right. Yes.
So
she was there.
He mentions when they are together, when she escapes to his house, it's like one little line. The fact that like she kind of questions him or is curious about photographs that he has in his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And let me actually pull up that scene for the movie. Unless you have it ready to go.
No. I have the movie up, but the scene when she's in his house?
Yeah. He says something about entertaining her. Or like a guy like him has to entertain young women to keep up appearances.
Okay.
That's where she was on her way to.
Okay.
So bringing this back, I didn't get the movie pulled. But basically, he does allude to the fact that she was on her way to his place that night to be entertained by him.
Okay.
Had everything gone according to plan and she actually makes it there and makes it back safely without being questioned by the fingermen or meeting V, how do you think her storyline would have been?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, and she just keeps working at that newspaper until she becomes a victim of the fascist state at one point or the other.
But V's plan was still going to go on. So do you think that she would have still ended up becoming radicalized along with them?
I mean, maybe as a part of the general populace, maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe she sees that kid with Coke bottle bottom glasses get killed and she's like, "Oh, that's not good." But yeah, I mean, I'm sure she would, especially with her ties to her parents being activists and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she would?
I don't think she would.
Why is that?
I think she's too afraid. I think she's too afraid of what it would do to her career. I think she's too afraid of how it would impact her because she saw how it played out with her parents. She saw her parents become activists.
You don't think that over the course of the year, with all the various varying boiling points that they reached, like with Stephen Fry's character getting taken away and all the stuff like involving that with, the freedom of speech not being there with him criticizing the government with his show, like you don't think that she would have been radicalized at some point like that, like the rest of the people?
I don't think she ever would have gotten there.
Wow, so you're really calling her a little baby.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
So she got one-on-one conversation with V where she found out exactly what he was doing, what his intentions were, face to face, could ask any questions that she wanted to him. And he was answering them truthfully because at one point she asks him if he killed, what was his name? The ex-military general guy turned TV star. Do you remember him?
Ooh, who?
The first guy that's killed in his shower. Remember, he's looking at himself on the TV.
Oh, yeah. Prothero, the Roger Allam guy, the guy from Speed Racer.
Yes. She asks V straight up if he killed him. And V's like, yep. And she's still afraid of him. And then when they go on and do the next scene with the pedophile priest and everything, she tries to tell the pedophile priest, even knowing that the guy is a terrible person who wants to rape children. She still thinks that that guy is her safe haven rather than V. I genuinely don't think that she would have ever gotten there by herself.
Interesting.
I agree.
Thank you, CJ.
You're welcome.
Wow, now you guys are ganging up on me. Just wow.
You'll know when I'm ganging up on me when I'm ganging up on you, motherfucker.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You'll know it.
Quite oblivious.
All right. Well, did anyone have any favorite scenes or performances they wanted to share?
I am still a sucker for the alliteration scene in the beginning.
Yeah, I really like that too.
That scene's badass.
I really like that.
I like when it ended.
What?
You liked when the credits rolled?
Yeah, that I felt that.
Wow.
Wow.
I like the alliteration. I did like that whole scene when she was in prison. Like I said, I thought that was genuinely really gripping, and learning the whole Valerie story and a bit of V's backstory. I also I liked that one scene when V is like outnumbered and then he just fucking super speeds all the dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like necessarily a good like super speed scene. You know, it's one of those things where like everything slows down around him, and I think that's generally one of the laziest ways to portray someone moving really fast. I prefer when you actually show them going super fast. But I do think that there was enough going on stylistically. You know, all of the blade trails as he's throwing his knives around or whatever the fuck Raphael from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles uses. As he's throwing those around, like the silver trails as they spin, and the way he was like very like flowing as he moved around and killed these dudes. It's just fun to watch. So I really liked whenever we got action like that.
So I will say too that scene, I know, Tommy, you haven't seen Matrix. That scene was very The Matrix.
Yes.
Which is interesting too because the screenwriters were the Wachowskis,
Yes.
which are the same directors of The Matrix
and Speed Racer. They're true masterpieces.
And Speed Racer.
They're true magnum opus.
You can't say that if you haven't seen The Matrix.
I mean, there's no way it could be better than Speed Racer, right?
Oh,
I mean, I know you love Speed Racer,
There's
so
no
I'm not
way.
going to. I'm not going to make any claims because I know how much you love that movie. But
well,
I also liked the Valerie scene. By the way, I know I gave a joke answer before. I do really like that scene.
That's a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
all right.
I think that there's one really important question we do have to cover real quick, though.
Okay.
CJ, could you have done a V for Vendetta?
It really depends on who I have to be.
This is what you say every time.
Every time.
Well, who am I?
It depends. Who am I?
24601.
And every time you have to answer because it matters.
Could you have done a V?
No. And the reason is really dumb.
What is it?
I just don't want to be cringe in the mask.
That's the one reason why you couldn't do it?
I think those masks are really uncomfortable, actually.
You've worn one?
So,
I could never wear like face paint or like like those masks. I haven't worn a Guy Fawkes mask, but like a mask like that. I could never wear those on Halloween because they just feel really uncomfortable.
well, V's one was really heavy duty too. That thing was bulletproof.
It was like metal, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if everyone else's were given the same ones or if they were just given plastic ones. But that thing was heavy duty.
Like, I couldn't do a V.
I liked his wig, though.
Maybe I could have done an Eevee. I probably could have done the Inspector guy. I definitely could have done the Inspector guy.
So what I'm hearing is no for V, maybe for Eevee, definitely for Finch.
I just don't think I want to be tortured, but yeah, I could probably do I could be tortured. I could do Natalie Portman.
So yes to Eevee?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, the president of our fan club is here. Do you think that I could do a V for Vendetta? How in general do you feel in terms of in terms of my confidence I could do it versus your belief I could do it?
See, I will say, mask aside, I think if you were to go through everything that V went through with the biological testing and surviving a fire and having superhuman abilities, if all of that is a prerequisite to you becoming V, I think that you would be able to put up with having a mask. So
yeah, but
I guess clarification's sake, do you have all the superhuman abilities that V has as well, or are we just taking CJ at face value?
I think it's got to be CJ at face value.
Yeah, that's how I was doing it.
Okay, then probably no, just because I feel like you would die the first time that you're shot.
Yeah. That's probably a good call. I also don't know how to use size, so
Also, you've never shot a gun before. I mean, I
I've
guess he
also
doesn't shoot. Have you used a knife before?
look. Okay, we have to suspend disbelief a little bit. Like, I believe I could kill the terrorists in Die Hard.
Wait,
many
wait,
of them
wait, wait,
again?
wait. Hold on a second.
I
You're
can't believe
saying
that
you
could kill
don't
3.
genuinely believe you could kill 3 terrorists in Die Hard? You're suspending disbelief when
No.
you say that?
Wait,
She's
CJ
saying-
said 2 and then 1 on accident.
Yeah, she said, because I've never fired a gun. That's what I'm talking about, suspension of disbelief. Like, yes, we have to assume that I at least know how to, like, use a weapon.
Well, you don't. That's part of the whole deal.
Yeah. I'm saying if that's, then the answer is always going to be no. I'm saying that I could figure out how to use a gun
Right.
to kill 3 terrorists.
Right.
That's my
I feel
point.
like you're not taking into account taking off the safety of a gun is not intuitive.
Have you fired a gun?
I have fired a gun.
You have a gun?
I do not have a gun, but I have fired a gun before.
Oh, okay. You cut out for me for a second. I was like, what? All right. I'm hearing you. You're right. I hear you.
hmm
I still think I could do EV and the inspector.
Okay, so
Okay.
I would agree with you in the fact that I do not believe you could do a V. I think you could do an EV. I think you could do an inspector just because I think anyone can do an inspector. He was quite literally given a journal with all of the
Yeah.
information he needed in it.
I have a pretty high pain tolerance, so I feel like I could be tortured. Not that I'm volunteering, but, you know,
Could you have your head shaved?
I've done it before. I would be just as upset, but I could do it.
If you decide to shave your head again sometime in the future, can Tommy and I be there to reenact the head shaving scene with you?
Yes, that's fine.
Yes.
Score.
If we're gonna do it, we might as well make it traumatic for me. And be cinematic about it, you know.
I
Put
feel
it
like
on
it would be
the-
really
the-
good content.
We'll put it on the Film is Okie Dokie YouTube channel.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you shave your head, I'll shave mine.
I don't want you to do that. I've done mine before. It's not, you know, I haven't had my head shaved in 6 years.
hmm
But before
Hair grows
that,
back most of the time.
yeah, most of the time. All right.
What about you, Tommy? Do you
Yeah.
think you could do a V for Vendetta?
Oh, no.
Oh,
No.
Not any of it.
I could do a Finch just because, you know, he is
Like
a
the bird?
public worker in a fascist government where, like, you know, public worker roles are probably totally inept because their systems have been dismantled by said government. So I could definitely do a Finch because I'd have to do nothing. But no, I could not do a V. I could not do an EV.
You couldn't
No.
do Evie, huh?
I get put in that cell, I'm slamming my head into the wall till I'm dead.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
It's
How
kind
long
of
was
graphic.
she in there for?
I don't care. I'm in there 3 minutes. I'm slamming my head on that wall.
Well, that's why those things are usually padded. Fair enough. All right. Well, post game, post everything. Is the film okie dokie?
Jade, why don't you go first as our guest?
Mm, mm, mm. This film is a thumb down from me, dog.
Wow.
Not going to New York.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to say, overall, I think there's enough here for me where I'm genuinely invested in pretty much everything other than like that main through line of the EVV connection. And I like enough of the stuff on the edges and enough of the stylization for me to say, yes, this film is okie dokie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it comes down to me. The first
Mhm.
ever 3
Yeah.
okie dokies.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that this film is not okie dokie. This
Mm.
movie has basically in the same way that you presented the reason that you think it's okie dokie. This movie does have some moments where I do think it's interesting. I do like parts of it, but the more we talked about it, the more I'm like, I didn't like this movie. The more we kept talking about it, I was like, I really didn't like this movie. I could really take or leave this. So I would say that if this was like a 50-50 for me, It's probably like a 55-45. Like, it could have gone either way, but just there's just enough that I don't like that I could never watch this movie again. You know?
Mm-hmm.
If I was showing it to someone, I think I would have to watch parts of it through my eyes. Like, through my eyes. Through my fingers. And just like, I don't know. So, I would say not okie dokie.
Wow.
You don't have to watch this movie.
Wow.
I went 1 for 2.
There you have
My
it.
prediction was initially that both of you were not going to like this movie as well.
Really?
Oh.
Mhm.
Wow. Look at me subverting expectations. Never know what to expect out of me. Total wild card.
Never.
I just like meeting expectations.
CJ, you exceeded my expectations.
Thanks.
Why don't we
alright.
talk about some other things that have exceeded our expectations in the rec room?
Ooh.
So this is where we all recommend some things. Jade, you're going to have to recommend some things as well, but why don't we have you go third in case you weren't prepared and you can have some time to prepare. CJ, what have you got to recommend this week for us?
This is a very stingy recommend because I watched it and I think people might like it more than I did. But I didn't hate it. Throwing this out there, I watched Agatha all along. And no spoilers. Listen. I was wondering how a sequel to WandaVision was going to play out, how they were going to thematically tie those together. And I was really surprised that they were able to do it with any sense of cohesion. When the story, the characters, the everything about it are completely and utterly different. But they actually managed to, I think, create and maintain a visual style while going in a completely different direction. I really appreciated that. For just the costumes and the set pieces alone, I found it interesting. I found the story to be, at best, whatever. It did get better as it went along, and then it ended in a way that I didn't see coming, which I do really appreciate for a Marvel product, especially one made in 2024. I didn't actually see the ending coming. And then it's like, I don't know. They're not going to do anything interesting with it. So,
yeah, that's kind of where we're at with Marvel. It's like, and even if they do something interesting, it might not be for 6 years.
There's a direct quote from Agatha in the movie. It's like, oh, you actually did something interesting with your power, unlike your mother.
Got him.
Like, it's like, yeah. Well, yeah. Like, they're not even going to do anything interesting with this fucking... with this character, so...
Yeah, probably not.
Relegated to the TV series or whatever. They're not even going to be... They're not Avengers level threat. They're not a young Avengers level threat. Like, they're relegated to this weird television series universe. You know? It's like, none of it matters. You know?
Yeah, we're waiting for that crossover to finally happen.
Well, it's just like, we don't even need it. You know? It's like, she's just not on the same level. You know? So,
I will say though, CJ, do you want to be in on a bit that me and Tommy have with regard to Agatha?
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, do you want to tell CJ the bit?
I think you should.
Down the witch's road. Down the witch's road. Down the witch's road.
Oh.
That's how you sing it.
Okay.
Down.
No.
Down the witch's road.
I believe you.
Well, CJ, you got anything else to recommend?
Yeah, actually I do. I want to recommend a book that I received for my birthday. I'm only halfway through it, but it's really, really good. It is Opposable Thumbs. It is the book about Siskel and Ebert, who were the movie critics at the Chicago Times and the Chicago Tribune. they had the show At the Movies with Siskel and Ebert. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show, but Roger Ebert and his film reviews, especially his written work, were a big inspiration for me to write, and especially helping me find my voice and my passion for critiquing movies and giving feedback on films. Those are he was a big inspiration for me. He still is. Obviously you get older and that kind of stuff is diluted just because you have more time and more people can influence you. But it is a good book. I do recommend checking it out if you want. I believe it is available as an ebook. You can get it the audiobook. You can get the hard copy, which is what I have. And in general, I just have an appreciation for the story of the two and like the art of film criticism. And obviously I'm here critiquing films with my two best friends, and it is a big reason why I'm here right now. So big recommend that.
Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Any more recs or that all?
That's it. That's 2 for me.
Awesome. Jade, why don't you go next?
I was told that I was going third.
No,
Yes.
you're going to go next because
Please
I don't want to
follow-
accidentally take
Please
one of
follow
yours.
the nope. Please follow the order. This is what I prepared for.
Wow,
Yes.
but I don't want to accidentally take one of yours. We watch a lot of stuff together.
Maybe I don't want to take one of yours.
All right. I am going to recommend a few movies. Some of them are all-time favorite movies of mine, and another one just watched for the first time. So I want to recommend all-time favorite movie of mine. It's like top 3 for me. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Jade and I recently watched this, and it is just a beautiful story, beautifully told. And yeah, it's just a really moving romance movie. Just incredibly beautiful. That's just the only word I can say. It's about pretty much back in older times. They're like when someone was getting married, you would have a portrait painted of them, and that portrait would be sent to their suitor, and then the suitor would be like, yeah, they're pretty enough, I'll marry them. And pretty much it is about a woman who is hired to paint another woman for this purpose, and kind of the story that unfolds between them. And very well done. The other thing I want to recommend is another favorite movie of mine, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. We just watched this past weekend, and it's just peak Pee-wee Herman. It is so good. It is just such good, stupid humor. Paul Rubens is incredible as Pee-wee, and it's a really interesting movie to watch since it's the first movie that Tim Burton ever directed. And it's like kind of quaint and cute in ways, and just really, really well done. A lot of character. And the last thing I wanted to recommend is a movie we just watched. I had never seen it before, called Before Sunrise, which is a movie from 1995 starring Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, and it is about this young woman and young dude who meet on a train in Europe, and they only have like one day together, and they spend this day together and kind of hit it off, but they only have the one day together because at sunrise is when his plane takes off. And I just thought that it was like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this was a really freaking cute movie. And it's just really, there's so many good moments where it's like, you're just watching them kind of like slowly become more and more into each other, and they're just really believable, and it's really well done. Really great acting performances, and it's directed in a way that really relies on the actors. A lot of really long takes, and they just nail it. They have a lot of chemistry, and they're very believable in the roles. So yeah, those are my movie recs. Jade, your turn.
Hi. So I love how you did all 3 movies. Oh, wait, no. You didn't mention the other one, but I'm not going to recommend Christmas Vacation. Everyone's seen Christmas Vacation.
Wow.
I
haven't.
I know that's a no-go
That is a no-go.
for the
No,
do it.
actually, just
Podcast.
Vacation is a no-go.
Oop.
Not
Oh.
Christmas Vacation.
It's still a
Uh,
soft no-go. Go ahead.
First, I wanted to recommend a movie that Tommy and I watched, I believe it was a couple weeks ago, that I feel like not enough people have seen or heard of when talking about the big rom-coms of a generation. But this movie is my my mom's favorite movie. It has been for my entire life. I watch it every single year with her, and it was so special to be able to watch it with Tommy for the first time. It is called While You Were Sleeping. It is starring a young Sandra Bullock, and basically she is in love with someone from afar. She is a CTA, Chicago Transit Authority worker, and there's a man passes by her every single day while she's working, and she's in love with him until he's pushed off onto the train tracks and is in a coma. And this whole chaos ensues surrounding his entire family, thinking that she's his fiance. And it's just such a beautiful love story between two people, as well as being a beautiful love story between someone and like a found family. And it's just a beautifully well done story. My next recommendation is also a book. I am almost finished with Dune. So this is a book that I have been reading for around 10 months now.
The entire time that I've known you, you've been
Yes.
reading Dune.
I have been reading Dune this entire time. I only have about 100 pages left. I'm very excited, but it's just such a good book. It's such a good book. It gave me a new appreciation for the movies too, and I'm really excited to watch the movies again. I think a lot of the times when movie adaptations are done of book, people always push their glasses up and say the books are better, which I agree, the book is better, but it is really beautiful to see this entire world played out on a screen,
Mm-hmm.
and just being able to read that from the pages has been such a great experience. And also it's Tommy's one of Tommy's favorite book series of all time. So great book. Would recommend Dune. And my final recommendation is my tea recipe. I would I would highly recommend it to anyone that does or does not like tea. I have caught a lot of flack for my tea recipe, but I don't care.
Okay.
Um,
What is it?
so how you make my tea is you boil s- half water, half lemonade. I use the
What?
Simply Light lemonade that is made with stevia.
Okay.
So you boil that together with a bag of green tea with mint. And you may be asking yourself, mint and lemon? That doesn't sound like a good combination. But folks at home, trust me, this is delicious. I would highly recommend.
So, you boil lemonade?
Yeah,
Okay. So,
what's
like,
wrong
you're
with that?
not just taking a tea bag to go. Like, you're like, you gotta put the kettle on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, however you make tea, whether you put kettle on or microwave it.
I mean, like, everyone, okay, so here we go. Like I said, people giving me a lot of flack for my tea recipe. And everyone's like, lemonade? Why lemonade? I've never had lemonade and tea before. Okay, I get it. But do you put lemon in tea sometimes? Yes. Do you put sugar in tea sometimes? Yes. Do you put water in tea? All the time. That's all the components of a lemonade, folks. That's all you need. I'm
Mm.
just quickening the process.
Okay. I'm with you.
Thank you.
I'm with you.
Thank you.
Wow. First, that's our first recipe that's ever been recommended.
That is true.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was
do-
trying to figure out how I wanted to jot that down in Tominio's giant record book.
Wait, I thought Tominio was jotting it down.
Well, I
He's-
jot it down for him while he holds it above his head.
Yep.
Does Tominio still have beef with CJ?
No, we settled it.
Oh, I don't like the face Tominio just made.
That's a no.
Listen here, you mute fuck. Get over it.
Holy shit.
God.
Oh my god, Tominio has a gun.
Don't shoot him, shoot me. I'm the one that you have a problem with.
CJ, lock your doors. Tominio just sprinted out of the room.
All right, well, when he gets here in 20
Oh my
hours,
God.
I'll
What if he can fly?
He'll still
shit.
get here in 20 hours. I did want to say that you've been reading Dune for so long that both of you have told me that the next book you're going to read is the one that I wrote.
That is correct.
And I am very excited for that, except I just heard you say how much you really like the Dune book, and my book is not the Dune book. So I'm like, maybe I have you guys read something really awful before you read my book.
That's not how recommendations work.
Yeah,
Just
you
because
can't lube us up before we read your book.
I think I can. It's just a matter of how do I do it.
I don't want to be lubed up by CJ.
Oh my god.
I'm the only one allowed to do that.
Like a French dip.
Well,
CJ likes feet.
I don't like feet!
Wow.
God.
Well. We've arrived to that point of the show where the recommendations have come and gone, and now only one thing remains for us to find out what we are watching next time on The Film is Okie Dokie. And CJ,
right. It's my pick again.
Yes, after a long run without a CJ pick, we are back.
Yeah, it's funny. Funny how that happened.
So this is going to be a one pick, right? You guys are going back and forth
we are
again?
Going back to our alternating.
Yes. So actually, this is not part one. So obviously, we watched V for Vendetta. Did you know that this is actually going to be the final part in our 4-part series on Vengeance?
Oh my God.
The final part. We will be taking a break from Vengeance-themed movies after this. Just for some levity, you know? We've had a very serious streak, but the movie I'm going to recommend is...
or watch?
The next movie we're going to watch is, in my opinion, one of the best movies in regards to someone seeking revenge of all time. And that, of course, is The Searchers, starring John Wayne, directed by John Ford.
Oh, you like this movie or something, right?
This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and we'll be watching it next time on The Film is Okie Dokie.
Wow. Well.
Yeah. Jade, we'll miss you.
Yes.
I'll miss you.
I wanted to say specifically,
miss.
thank you, Jade, for joining us.
Yes.
I will miss you guys.
I will miss you. And
I
I
can't
hope
wait
that
to
you
listen
can
to
come
it
on
after.
again.
I hope so too. This time I might pick a movie that I actually like.
I would like that. You know, don't like Tommy's gonna be like, we can't have Jade on too soon. It's been he's gonna have to he's gonna have some arbitrary, we don't want to have Jade on again too soon rule. And I don't agree with it.
Really, I thought that would be coming from you, CJ.
Why? Because you've already made up so many lies. Like, I'm a woman hater that likes feet, and Natalie Portman.
Didn't you hear that? CJ just said, I'm a woman hater who likes feet.
I heard it.
I want people to know that he's editing this in.
No, I'm not.
100%.
What's preventing him from editing you out?
As uncut as Jesus's foreskin.
Gems?
Jesus Christ!
What?
All right. Well, on that note, thank you to everybody who listened to The Film is Okie Dokie.
Oh, wait.
Thank you again
Hold
to
on.
Jade.
Wait.
No, we're done.
I'm just realizing Jesus was Jewish, so that doesn't
Yeah,
work.
no shit, Sherlock. Yeah. All right. Well, he was the first, you know, so maybe he had his amputated. Anyway, so thank you everybody for listening to The Film is Okie Dokie. Remember to like us, review us, give us 5 stars. If you only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Shout out to Bomani Jones from Wave Sports Entertainment for the quip. Thank you to Jade for recommending V for Vendetta, the president of our fan club, and of course my best friend most importantly, but then I guess Tommy's partner or whatever. And also We hope to see you back in the future. We hope that you will not be a stranger.
Join the Discord server.
Join the Discord server. The Discord server will be linked in the description below. If you want to check out the companion audio podcast, remember, you can do so. The link will be in the description below on the YouTube link. As always, I have been CJ.
I've been Tommy.
I've been Jade.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Bye. Get out of here.
I
Go!
like being here live.
Oh my god, Dominio's here.
Oh, he has the gun!
Ah!